for Sports 56 Middays with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Sports 56 Middays is presented by FedEx. FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
3-2. Here it is! The Washington Nationals are world champions for the first time in franchise history.
Let the good times roll. LSU sits on the throne of college football.
And this one is over. Kansas City has won their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
Now, here are your hosts for Sports 56 Middays, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Countryside, lay back and smell the sun, warm up the Georgia pie. Feels so good to be taking it easy. Why would I ever leave? 'Cause I know I got some good friends.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Middays, live and in color from the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40, officially the Tuesday, July 28th, 2020 edition of the program. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morrison today for Gabe Kuhn producing our program. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, and that's FedEx. No matter what stage you're at in your business, there's room to grow online. Learn more at fedex.com/e-commerce. A busy week with FedEx. Obviously, it's the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, although a lot different than it normally is for us, as we're usually broadcasting live out there. But FedEx being the big sponsor, not only this event, but of the FedEx Cup, big sponsor of the PGA Tour in general. And we can't thank them enough for being a part of our show each and every day. Got a lot going on. Very, very busy show today. There's a lot of news from a lot of different sports. We're also going to go outside sports for a little bit today at 10:25. Looking forward to having author Chris Nashawati on the show. He wrote a book recently about Caddyshack, and he has done a real thorough job of interviewing all the living remaining stars of Caddyshack, one of the greatest comedies of all time. And he put this thing together, and we're going to talk about that and how he went about doing it, why he did it, and some of the stars that he talked to and what they had to say. So that'll be coming up at 10:25. Steve Macy from the University of Memphis, our Tuesday regular, will join us at 11:25. In between, we have 2.5 questions today. We'll have Humdinger's Trivia. Our 5 favorite songs is at 12:05. And today, the topic is eyes, E-Y-E-S, eyes. Very tough topic. At least I felt it was very tough after putting my list together yesterday. You can go ahead and put your list together and text them in on the First Bank text line at 67129. If you are watching us live, you can message us with those lists at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. Also today, it's Tuesday. That means our NFL 3-for-alls. We continue the countdown to the NFL season. Today, the opening of camps around the National Football League. We'll take a look at the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. We got the latest news from Major League Baseball. 2 more postponements for tonight as far as games are concerned. With camps opening up in the NFL, we have some players that have opted out. And the Grizzlies will play their final tune-up today against the Miami Heat before they play the first of their 8 remaining regular season games on Friday against the Portland Trailblazers. Eli, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Had a little bit of a dramatic Cubs game last night. Had to stay up late to watch Craig Kimbrell almost blow it, and David Ross just standing like a deer in headlights watching him blow it. But they escaped with a win. And I will say this. That was the first Cubs game of the season that really kind of had drama, like a dramatic ending to it. And like watching the 9th inning of that game, there was no... to me, there was really no difference that there was not fans there. Like, it did not, normally, obviously, in that situation, fans are going to be really loud, all of that stuff, but it didn't even really register that there were not fans there watching that game.
Look at you, mid-season forum, already going after your Cubbies and rookie manager David Ross.
Craig Kimbrell is a disaster. It's hard to watch, and yet David Ross really enjoyed watching him walk 4 and hit one of the 6 guys he faced.
But they won.
Yes, because I guess somebody finally said, "Hey, David, you may want to go take him out of the game."
Yeah, he doesn't have a quick hook, at least early in his managerial career. He let Kyle Hendricks go the distance in the opener, and he pitched tremendous. And I love it. I love the fact that you keep the horse.
Kyle Hendricks one wasn't easy. His pitch count was low, all that stuff. He didn't really, and nobody ever reached second base against him, so that was pretty easy. Last night should have been pretty easy, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yes, but even in this day and age, pitchers still will give the hook to starters who are in total control, and I like the fact that we had a complete game victory because they're rare anymore. All right, so the news of the day with the baseball world is the Marlins, and of course their game with the Orioles, again, canceled. It was a 2-game series. That has been canceled. 4 more players have tested positive for COVID-19. So if you're scoring at home, they're up to 17, 15 players, 2 coaches. Dr. Fauci was on with George Stephanopoulos today, and he said, listen, it's concerning, but this doesn't mean that baseball has to stop. And baseball is not stopping. The Yankees game against Philadelphia also postponed today. Precautionary reasons. No Phillies, according to reports, have tested positive for COVID-19. Now, the Phillies play in New York against the Yanks tomorrow. Either they flipped the location or that was scheduled.
See, that's like the Marlins and Orioles. That's what they're scheduled to do. They were. It was a 2-game series in Florida, then a 2-game series in Baltimore. Like they're supposed to play in Baltimore starting tomorrow.
So the Marlins,
they're both doing this. I think it's both of those series are the same thing where it's 4 games against the same opponent, only flipping locations. It's 2-game series.
Do you make up the games with doubleheaders?
I don't see any way the Marlins are going to be able to play tomorrow necessarily. I don't know. Maybe they can find a way to do this, but I don't know how they are. If the Phillies with no positive test today going to do another round of testing, if they get no positives, then I guess they could try and do back-to-back doubleheaders with that series and make up those games. I don't know how the Marlins and Orioles will make up theirs. Now, in the long run, those games probably will not matter in the standings. If everybody is correct on the Marlins and Orioles, those games probably will not have a big impact on anything later on in the year. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how they're going to handle the Marlins now with 15 guys. Basically, half of their team has tested positive.
Well, it's an interesting point because you're right. There's probably a good chance that those games don't matter in the end, so you don't have to make them up. But if there are some other cancellations that have to be made up for the purposes of the postseason, then you stretch your season. And I know Rob Manfred and the powers that be do not want this season stretched any further. They have their set plan, their schedule, and then their schedule for the postseason. But it will be interesting if any teams that are going to be in there in the end, and there'll be a lot more teams in there in the end since there are 16 playoff teams, if they'll be affected by COVID-19 in the sense of losing a bunch of players. I don't know why the Marlins just don't call up a bunch of the guys that weren't with the team and use them. Sorry, that's the way it is. That's the way things goes. All rules are right, I guess, in the sense of all bets are off with COVID-19.
But they would have to it's a little complicated because they would have to call up guys who aren't on the 40-man roster. So there's going to have to be when literally half your team is out.
Let it slide this year. Don't worry about it. Just bring them up. I mean, they have to figure out ways to be different than they normally are because there's nothing but weirdness in this day and age with sports and with anything in this world. So go beyond the 40-man roster. Allow those players that are in their camp, if they are testing negative, to play. Because, again, you're going to lose these games, and it doesn't look like the Marlins in the end will be in the race. But how about if they are? Then you have to stretch out the season and find a way to make up those games. By the way, Jeff Passan says that it's important to understand, and I'm going back to the Phillies now, with the negative test, no positive tests, rather, in their first round of testing, that just because the Phillies tests have come back clean today doesn't clear them. The incubation period for the coronavirus per the CDC is up to 14 days. No positives today doesn't mean there are no positives. A good initial sign, though. Yeah, but they're not going to wait 14 days. If they got another batch of negatives, they're playing. So they expect that they'll have that today, testing, and then tomorrow we'll see how it turns out. And then they'll be in New York to play the Yankees. So you certainly can have the incubation period in your body where a week from now a bunch of Phillies test positive. That's the unfortunate situation that we're in right now. But they're not going to sit out for 14 days.
No, his point is just because it's 0 today doesn't mean like we go, oh, okay, cool, everything's good.
Of course.
In a week, they could have 5 guys test positive.
Of course, but we're not going to be sitting out. These guys aren't going to be sitting out and waiting for 14 days. That's the way it's going to be. There are going to be a lot more positive tests. There are going to be a lot more players that come down either asymptomatic or with the symptoms, and we just hope that nothing's really, really serious with COVID-19.
If the Phillies can not end up with an outbreak out of this, that is obviously an extremely good sign, and that when you are, even while playing a team that had an outbreak, and clearly there were guys out there playing that were positive, if they aren't, doesn't appear that they're spreading it to the other team,
right?
That's a really good sign, and that's huge, I think, for baseball. But because if the Phillies all of a sudden had a bunch of guys too, and you're looking at, well, okay, one team has an outbreak, they're clearly spreading it to the other team. That's going to be a big time issue going forward,
right?
And then you'd pretty much have to, almost shut down the Marlins. You just have to tell them, like, y'all can't play for a while.
It's like if a tree falls in the woods, does anybody hear it? If the Marlins are shut down, does anybody notice?
Well, every team that's supposed to play them is going to be affected by.
Win, baby.
Their division opponents. That's 10 less games that they're going to have. I don't know how they'd have to completely adjust the schedule.
And I shouldn't make fun of the Marlins. They took 2 or 3 from the Phillies, including with a ravaged roster on Sunday, and they went wild. Put up, 11, I think it was, against the Phillies. So, yes, I'm the last one that should be making fun. In the meantime, while we have these positive tests going on in the world of baseball, the NFL has opened up camps around the league. And we have a number of players who have decided to opt out. Ravens wide receiver DeAnthony Thomas has opted out. He became the second player, but now, hold the phone, 5 New England Patriots, according to reports, have opted out, led by linebacker Dante Hightower, also former Ole Miss running back Brandon Bolden.
Yeah, and Marcus Cannon, their starting right tackle. So they have been hit extremely hard with the opt-outs. Tom Brady gone, and some other key pieces gone now, opting out for the New England Patriots could make it tough for old Bill Belichick.
More COVID-19 related news. Yesterday, it was announced that Jackson, Mississippi public schools, now this is Jackson, Mississippi, not the whole state, have canceled all sports and extracurricular activities for the upcoming year, according to reports. You're talking about a lot of strong football programs from the public side in the city of Jackson, and they are not going to play anything all year long, again, according to reports.
Yeah, there's some confusion on that because there's also reports that the football season is not canceled yet. So I don't know. There's various weird reports, and I'm not sure exactly what is going on there.
Again, if you cancel, and again, this is only according to what I've read and what you've read, but if you're going to cancel every other sport and all extracurriculars, how can you have football? I don't get it. I understand that football is the biggest sport. I don't know how much of a moneymaker it is at the high school level, but I'm sure it is somewhat with the gates that they get for games, depending on how many fans your school has. But you can't treat those student athletes differently, and it happens all the time.
Yeah, this is from the Clarion Ledger. Jackson Public School coaches were informed over the phone that the season would be canceled. However, a statement from Sherwin Johnson of the Jackson Public Schools said they were contacted by a district official and misinformed that a decision had been made to cancel the fall football season. There's been no official decision or announcement yet regarding athletics and extracurricular activities for the fall semester in Jackson Public Schools. So apparently some district official got it wrong. Started calling all the coaches, saying, "Hey, you're not going to have a season," but somebody else says they were misinformed that official was wrong. So I don't. It got very confusing last night trying to follow that, and I didn't understand what was going on. But apparently they have not made an official decision yet.
So in that case, not shoddy journalism, just either an uninformed or a overzealous. Who did you say was a district?
Yeah, they said it was a district official that was the one that was calling the coaches.
Yeah, who may have jumped the gun. Also, today some news, Pete Thamel tweeting out that an NCAA email obtained by Yahoo Sports issues a blanket waiver to allow all FBS schools to start on August 29th. It will be known as Week 0. The waiver was requested by the Football Oversight Committee and will provide additional flexibility for schools navigating the season. Conferences received the notice Monday evening. Relief is provided on a one-time basis for the 2020 football season due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. The edict came from the NCAA Division I Committee for Legislative Relief. All right, put that into layman's terms.
Well, this is just, again, it's trying to create the most flexibility for the season as far as the scheduling goes. So I talked about a couple weeks ago. I know because I was told by somebody that definitely knows. The ACC, one of the things they wanted was the possibility of starting in Week 0 because they're just basically trying to create the most weeks to get in however many games they're going to try and play.
Mm-hmm. Thus the flexibility.
So if you start in Week 0, that's obviously one extra week. Maybe you won't. Maybe you're not going to be able to, but at least have the ability, have the okay to do that if there are teams ready to go and you could do it and everything seems okay, well, then we're going to go in Week 0. They're also talking about moving their championship game back as much as 2 weeks if they need to. So it basically would create about a 15, 16-week window if you go from Week 0 and you move your championship game back a couple of weeks in the end if you have to. So you got about 15, 16 weeks in there to try and get in. They were talking about 10 games. I don't know if that's still their plan, how they're planning on doing it, but whatever your number of games is that you're trying to get in, just create the most available weeks. And if you give everybody Week 0 to include in that just adds another week for them to try and get a game in.
And according to reports, the ACC has a couple of very important meetings that are scheduled for tomorrow. In the meantime, group of 5 leagues, I believe, are just kind of waiting patiently to see what happens with all the Power 5 schedules, what they decide to do, what their commissioners will decide to do. And right now, the SEC is not saying much. Greg Sankey's not saying much. But the ACC, again, will have some important meetings, according to reports that are out there tomorrow, on the direction they're going in.
Well, the weird thing today, this morning, I guess the Big 12 must still be planning on just playing a full schedule because Iowa State has announced that they've added Ball State to their schedule to replace the Iowa game.
So they're trying to go 12, 9 conference, 3 non-conference.
They're trying to play a full schedule still to the point of where they're replacing the opponents that they've lost. So that's because that was the only game Iowa State lost in so far is that game. And they've replaced it with Ball State, who lost a game against Michigan when the Big Ten went conference only. So that seems a little weird to me. Probably a little ambitious, but I guess the Big 12 at this point is still on the idea of we're going to be able to play a full schedule without any problems.
I would imagine there's in that contract a stipulation that if the game is not played, we don't owe you anything. Because,
well, yes, obviously,
yeah.
but I was stunned that they would be replacing opponents at this point, thinking that you're going to get 12 games in.
Well, what happened with Kansas and Oklahoma at the end of last week, they replaced the team on their schedule as well. So, yeah, it's very ambitious with what they want to do in the Big 12. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084. Locally owned and operated company. NewRoofMemphis.com is the website. They offer financing if that's the direction you want to go in, including a 6, 12, or 18-month same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket. Remember, your insurance company can't tell you the company you have to use. You can make that choice yourself. And I say Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration is the way to go. Pinnacle does both residential and commercial roofs, so business owners and property managers, if you have a leak or any other roofing issue, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof, and all their work, satisfaction guaranteed. They can do work around the home like carpentry work, exterior painting. They can replace gutters, install shingles, put up fencing and siding, rotten wood repair. If you could do it yourself, more power to you. If not, call the experts. Quality work at a very reasonable price. It's Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. Call Brandon McCullough. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays. 901-438-5084 or online at newroofmemphis.com.
Here's maybe the least shocking thing ever. There was a positive Phillies test.
Fanatic.
No, the visiting clubhouse attendant.
That makes sense.
that poor fella probably didn't have much of a chance, I'm guessing. He was probably pretty much destined to get it.
A little bit later on in the show, we'll talk Grizzlies, their final tune-up today, right after we wrap things up at 1 o'clock against the Heat, and also the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational set to go. Some featured groups have been announced, and they are some doozies. We'll go over that a little bit later on, but when we come back, we're going to reminisce about the great Caddy Shack. Chris Nashawati will join us next. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Check out Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
That's what protecting your car could sound like with 303 Touchless Sealant. Just spray on a wet surface, rinse off, and dry. It's the sound of twice the protection as traditional waxes and insane water beating you have to see to believe.
Wait, this is radio, right?
Okay, moving on. 303 Touchless Sealant. Available now at AutoZone.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. Only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike. Or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. Here once again, our great guest in Eli Savoy.
Let's do it. Well, she was an American girl,
Welcome back, everybody. 10:27 is the time. Hour number one here on Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morris producing the program today. We're trying to catch up with Chris Nashawati here, who's written a book about Caddyshack, the making of a Hollywood Cinderella story. And we'll try to get him on here in the next few moments. In the meantime, we were talking about the latest with COVID-19 and what it has done to Major League Baseball, although, again, with Dr. Anthony Fauci, and I didn't see the interview, but I heard about his interview today with George Stephanopoulos saying, look, it's concerning, but it doesn't mean we're shutting down baseball, and they shouldn't be shutting down baseball. They do have protocols, although yesterday you brought up the interesting point that the Marlins decided to play their game after the first initial round of positive tests, which is stupid. It should be baseball's decision. But nevertheless, Fauci was pretty positive about baseball and what protocols they have put in place.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly need to address that situation that if a team has 2 or 3 guys test positive, and do you want to throw them out on the field without knowing necessarily about the other guys who are obviously exposed to it? I do also wonder, what were the Marlins doing in their clubhouse? Because to me, I get it. Like if the virus is in your clubhouse, it may spread a little bit. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing the which you can easily in a clubhouse, like kind of being precautious, I just don't see 15 guys getting it.
No,
what were they just in there hugging on each other? Like what were you doing in there?
Well, you're not wearing masks. That's the problem. With baseball, the players in the dugout, for the most part, I know the guys who aren't playing at that moment should be wearing their masks, and I think most do. But look at the dugout, what we've seen so far from baseball. Most of them aren't wearing masks. The manager and the coaches are. So I could easily see where they're in the clubhouse, they walk back. And I know they're not supposed to be showering or anything like that, right? They're supposed to be leaving the ballpark without doing any showering.
I believe so.
Right? So, but you go back there and you still have no, the guys who maybe were wearing the mask take the masks off for a minute to breathe. The other guys who don't have the masks on, they continue to walk around without the masks. Maybe there's less social distancing. I'm assuming they get on the same bus to go back to the hotel. I don't know. It's a good question you ask, but I don't know. Obviously, it spreads pretty quickly. That I think we know. I don't think it takes a brain surgeon to figure that out, that it can spread very quickly. And that's why the Marlins have been infected with 17 positive tests.
Somebody tweeted, apparently the Marlins were playing spin the bottle in the clubhouse, which is probably a bad thing during this time. I get it. There's half their team.
We kid because we care, folks.
Half their team is tested positive.
Yeah, it's a scary proposition.
I mean, the good thing for it, I guess, for the positive for them, if there is, it is while they were on the road and not at home and they weren't all going home to their families every night.
That's true. But it's a scary proposition for everybody because we've been waiting for this time period, the end of July, beginning of August, when baseball starts, when the NFL camps open up, when the NBA, although in a bubble and seem to be pretty solid right now, when they start to play games for keeps, which will begin on Thursday, that we would get a better gauge of where we are moving forward for the fall and for football. With college football, with the National Football League, with high school football, I think the NFL, look, you're going to lose players who opt out. We've already talked about that today with several teams that are affected, especially the Patriots with 5, and we'll see if any more names today decide to opt out. But I think with the NFL, you have full speed ahead. I mean, and you have the largest rosters, you have the most players, the most people in the organization, most coaches on a coaching staff. So you have a lot more chances, just looking at percentages, for people to come down with a positive COVID-19 test. But they're also testing every single day for the first 2 weeks of camp. Remember, there's no preseason games. They've gotten rid of all of them, so there's no traveling to another city, and they can keep things a little bit confined as much as they can. Doug Peterson yesterday, the Eagles coach, talked about the bubble. They literally have a bubble in Philadelphia, and a lot of places have those bubbles where they work out with bad weather, but I guess they could stay inside there. But it doesn't mean they're sleeping there, so they're still going home to their families.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly a much different situation. they're going out. They're going to be with their families. They're going to be out in public amongst other people, unlike a real bubble where you are only theoretically around the other people that have already tested negative and everything else, and you're not letting. I mean, still a few outsiders have to get in just because of workers and stuff like that. But it is fun. I mean, again, it is weird though to look at. Here we've got a baseball team who almost half their team has now tested positive, and we don't know when exactly they're going to play again, how they're going to handle this. And on the other side, in college football, you've got the Big 12 conference acting like going like, hey, yep, we're all good. We're going to fit all our schedule. We're going to play a 12-game schedule.
Right.
No problems here.
Right.
And again, but part of that is also the difference in the different parts of the country. I mean, although the Big 12 asking, and I don't, is Texas, I haven't kept up with what Texas is. Texas still got all kinds of cases coming in?
They did, but Fauci said today that he thinks California, Texas, I think he mentioned Florida, that they have peaked, and now things should start to get better. And he said the states to worry about are Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee.
Well, the good thing is I'm going from Tennessee to Indiana this weekend, so that works well. Because I don't know.
He thinks they've crested. He said crest. Because they've crested.
Based on the last whatever month or two, it's interesting that a conference who has a lot of Texas schools thinks they're going to be able to play a 12-game schedule.
Right. Well, it's eagerly optimistic, and that's the difference between college football and just about everything else, because you have different governing committees or people. Let's say in the case of the leagues, you have commissioners with their power people that make decisions. The NCAA can only do so much when it comes to Division 1A football, especially with the postseason. They have no control over it, but they can control all the other sports and the championships, and they make the decisions. Here you have a number of different people making decisions, and within that, as you said, they're making decisions based on decisions that are being made in their particular states, which are all different around the country. So that's why you have all kinds of different things happening with college athletics, but especially football. Big Ten, Pac-12, opting already out of non-conference games. And here we are not even in August yet. Whereas, as you said, the Big 12 is looking at possibly playing a full schedule. We've heard the conversation of conference schedule +1. There's a lot of options out there, and there's no uniformity, right? It's all different.
I will be stunned if any team played 12 games this year.
I would too.
I can't see that.
And then what about the logistics? We talked about the news today that Pete Thamel reported via Twitter that they've given themselves a lot of flexibility schedule-wise by having this week 0 and then possibly pushing back championship games, at least in the ACC. So you have a longer period of time in case, we had an outbreak this week. We're not going to be able to play. We're going to have to cancel this week, and maybe we could play next week, and maybe you can move around schedules. But you still have to have everything on the same page with that opponent, where it works out for that opponent from a scheduling standpoint as well. So you have more flexibility, but I still think it's going to be really hard to get all 12 in. It's very ambitious, but some conferences may try to do that. Again, we're going to have to get some decision from these Power 5 conferences here very soon, and then the Group of 5 will fall into place after that because they'll know where we stand with a number of games that are set between the Power 5 and the Group of 5.
Yeah, you would think that as we near August, things need to be decided one way or another. And the one thing that I don't know for sure, and I don't know, I don't know if Pete Thamel even addressed this, but if given the okay to everybody start the season on week 0, if they choose to do so, are they pushing up a week the start of camp as well? Or are they just going to basically lose a week of camp if you start on week 0?
That's a good question as well. Remember, they decided to add 2 weeks, but they are practices. They're just walkthroughs and meetings and things of that nature. So that's already going on, but practices are supposed to be the same length of time. So if they move the games up to August, what is that date again? That Saturday,
August 29th.
August 29th. What would they do?
Because I had heard originally.
I don't know.
I had heard originally when I was talking to the person who was telling me about what the ACC was looking at, that you would just lose they would lose a week of practice. Like you didn't, they wouldn't give you, they weren't moving up the start of camp but since they did it for all of the conferences, I wonder if they're going to say if everybody then. Since it's not just one conference, it's everybody's conference, or all the conferences. I wonder if maybe they will give them the okay to go ahead and start a week earlier with actual practices to get ready for a possible week 0 start.
Absolutely, yeah. These are all good questions. All right, listen, we've tracked down Chris Nashawati. And what we'll do is we'll take a timeout. We'll come back and we'll talk Caddyshack with him. Again, the Grizzlies today against the Heat. Is there anything particular you're looking forward to seeing? Or, again, are you of the ilk that it really doesn't matter? It's just a scrimmage.
It doesn't matter, but it's Andre Iguodala. We'll see how Iggy plays against the Grizzlies.
When we come back, we're going to talk some Caddyshack. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
On Election Day, August 6th, Republicans have a choice. Are we a party of principles or a party of personalities? Will we stand for something or fall for anything? The Republican Party of Ronald Reagan won the Cold War by focusing on family, faith, and freedom. Today we have new challenges with disease and economic uncertainty. But if we don't lose our way, if we don't descend into petty squabbles and soundbite policies, if instead we focus on family, faith, and freedom, I promise you, we have solutions. That's why I'm asking for your vote. I'm George Flynn, and I approve this message. Paid for by Flynn for Senate.
Hey, you should move over. Red right return.
Right, red right return.
No, just red right return because
No, I'm saying red right return, but then right to agree.
Okay, but you're on the...
I should have said correct. I know it's red right return, but...
You're on the left and it's red right return. Red right return.
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive has you covered as a leader in boat insurance. Get a quote today at Progressive.com.
Oh, I was on the left. Right.
Please stop talking.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Ugh, my stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's now in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And now you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Let me try it.
Try new Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx.
Here once again
are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Let's do it.
Let me drop it on the one. It's the Fat Mac. Dope like an A-ball. That's why people call me that. Some used to call me Mr. Big, but I had to flip. Now they call me Mr. Ruffle because I'm all about my tips. Matter of fact, you need a jackhammer just to...
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays, 1041 the time. Hour number one of the program. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morris. We have caught up with Chris Nashawati. We'll talk some Caddyshack here in just a moment. I am extremely excited. Anytime we can fit Caddyshack into our show, it's a good day.
George, by the way, had asked on Facebook if the Grizzlies game today is on TV. It's a 1 o'clock game. I know it's on Grizzlies.com. I believe today's game is on NBA TV, too. The Grizzlies. I know it's on Grizzlies.com. I believe it will be carried on NBA TV as well.
Right. And remember, when the games start for real, and for the Grizzlies, it will be Friday against Portland. The NBA restart as far as the regular season begins on Thursday. The Grizzly games will be on Fox Regional, so you'll have them as well. And then, of course, the national coverage of a number of games, going back to what is the normal television network schedule as far as the broadcasts are concerned. But there's nothing normal with what we're going to be seeing with no fans and playing inside a bubble. Like I said, anytime we could talk a little Caddyshack, I'm excited about it. It is one of my two favorite movies of all time. It probably don't go a week without quoting something from Caddyshack in our daily lives. And Chris Nashawaty has written a book about Caddyshack. He's a writer, editor, and critic, and he's the author of Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story. And it's our pleasure to bring Chris onto the program. Chris, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
Oh, doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. By the way, you can follow Chris on Twitter at Chris Nashawaty. All right, so give us a little background on the book and your decision to, let's go back in time. Let's see if we can find some of these great stars of this movie who are still with us and try to interview them and get the backstory that nobody knows about. What was that decision like to decide to take this endeavor on?
Yeah, well, it's actually it's been a long journey. In 2010, for Caddyshack's 30th anniversary, I was assigned to write a story about the making of the movie for Sports Illustrated. And for that story, I talked to Bill Murray and Chevy Chase and Harold Ramis, the director, who has since passed away, and a bunch of other people who were involved with the movie. And as I was talking to them, I just, there was such gold. I had no idea that this was such a chaotic and cocaine-fueled story of the making of a movie. They did everything that you shouldn't do while you're making a movie, and somehow managed to come up with this cult classic. And I just knew, there was much more information and great anecdotes than a 6-page article in a magazine could contain. So I sort of tucked it away and thought, this could be a book someday, and that's what happened.
So, cocaine fuel, that's with that cast, I guess that's not real surprising, especially at those times.
Yeah, this was made in Florida in 1979, and you have to remember that, Miami was pretty much the gateway into the country for illegal drugs at that time. And the culture was a little bit different, too. It was a little more hedonistic, and there's a bunch of young people off making a movie 3,000 miles away from the oversight of the studio back in L.A. They had a bunch of money, and they just had a good time. So, again, this is not the way you should. I want to be clear to the kids out there. This is not a way you should make a movie. but it worked in this one case.
I know it wasn't a huge budget, right? It wasn't a lot of money to produce this movie, correct?
No, it was, the budget was about $6 million, which back then was, sort of in the middle range. Just as a comparison, at the same time, they were shooting Blues Brothers in Chicago, and the budget for that one was about $25 million. So it gives you a sense of, this is a pretty shoestring operation. And a lot of the money went to, the talent, guys like Chevy Chase and Bill, They did the best they could. It's a really, I love Caddyshack. I just heard you say it was one of your top two movies. I'd be curious to hear what the other one is. But they also, they did everything they could. But it's a sloppy, messy movie, and that's part of its charm, I think. You know what I mean? No scene has anything to do with the scene before or after it. It's just a loose collection of really, really funny shit. And they just made it up on the fly. I mean, Cinderella's story, that scene that Bill Murray did, that wasn't written. He just made that up on the fly. He did that in one take, and that was it. That's the kind of style they shot this movie in.
My favorite movie of all time is Animal House. So the same kind of deal with guys having a good time on a low budget and putting together a movie. So it's very similar in the sense to Caddyshack. They are my two favorite movies and the kind of the National Lampoon connection and all that. And of course, there's a lot of great dramas I like, but as far as the comedies, these are my two favorite by far. Chris Nashawaty joining us here on the program. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, those guys who made Caddyshack had already sort of done Animal House. There's a lot of the same people. Yeah, so that's all in the book too, and that whole National Lampoon, Saturday Night Live, Second City connection. It was a really revolutionary time in comedy. And Caddyshack, I think, is where it all comes together.
Do they think? Well, you spoke with Harold Ramis before he passed away for the article that you did. Did they think because of all the partying that was going on, the stars and the egos? I know with Chevy Chase especially. I know Bill Murray just wasn't even there, and then he kind of zipped in and did his thing with the $6 million budget as opposed to more money. Were they worried that they may not be able to complete the movie?
I don't think they really cared. I mean, I think they were just having a good time. I mean, I think once they got back to LA and they were in the editing room, they were trying to piece it all together and make sense of it. I think then panic started to set in. But while they were down there, I think they were just too busy having a good time.
So you mentioned the Cinderella story, that scene, that was not scripted. How much kind of improv was there within this movie script, from these guys?
I would say about 50% of the movie is pretty much made up. Basically anything with Chevy, Rodney, and Bill Murray is pretty much unscripted. You know, Chevy and Bill, especially because it's Saturday Night Live, they were used to just coming up with stuff off the top of their heads that was better than anything, any screenwriter could put down. And in Bill's case, he was only on set for a week. They didn't know when he was going to arrive. He just showed up when he showed up. I mean, that's the sort of guy that Bill is. And none of his scenes were really written out. I mean, they left large chunks of the script just as white pages saying, Bill riffed here. They knew that he would just come up with something off the top of his head, like the Dalai Lama scene, that would be better than anything they could come up with.
You talked about Ted Knight he was the opposite of everybody else. While they were partying, he was going to bed early. He was old school acting. What was that like to have a mesh with a guy like that and then all the rest of them?
Yeah, that chemistry didn't work very well. Ted Knight, had been a seriously trained actor. He had done, I think, 7 seasons on the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And as a sitcom actor, you sort of, you go by the script and you show up, an hour early and you say everything that's in the script and you hit your mark and all that. And so to put him in the same frame as Rodney Dangerfield, who was just like this Tasmanian devil who would just sort of spout off whatever came into his head, it drove Ted Knight crazy. I mean, those two did not get along because they had such different styles of working. And Ted Knight, the Judge Smales character is the villain, obviously, of the movie. And Ted Knight, I'd argue, is the best thing in the movie. But he, that anger that he has on screen, that is not pretending. That is like real Ted Knight anger.
What golf course did they use?
Yeah, so they wanted to shoot it in Illinois because the movie was based on the Murray family. I mean, all the Murray kids, including Bill and his brother Brian Doyle Murray, who was one of the writers of the script, they had based Caddyshack on their years growing up just north of Chicago and caddying as kids to pay their way through Jesuit school. But they couldn't shoot it in Illinois because they were shooting it in the winter, so they ended up going down to Florida. So they shot the film in Davie, Florida, at a course called Rolling Hills, which is still there. It's got a different name. I think it's called Grand Oaks now, but it was in Davie, Florida.
Did they do damage to the course?
Yeah, they sure did. It's kind of a funny story if you have a second. So the finale where they blow up the golf course, when they originally were sort of trying to get permission from various golf courses in Florida, they showed the script to the board at Rolling Hills, and they saw this scene where the golf course blows up, and they're like, "Yeah, this is not going to happen." and they're like, "No, don't worry, the script is going to change." Well, the script did change, but not that part of it. So when they finally got to the last day of shooting at Rolling Hills, the producer John Peters took the board of the golf club out to lunch off campus, and while they were all gone, they blew up the golf course without permission. And it was such a big fireball that a plane flying overhead going into Fort Lauderdale Airport radioed into the control tower that he thought that there had been a plane crash.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I guess then you didn't have the special effects abilities you have now.
No, and they sort of hightailed it out of town pretty quickly after after that happened.
Leave the golf course smoldering as you're on your way out of town.
Well, they did have a gopher for special effects, and I know that was one where people were like, "What do you mean a mechanical gopher?" And it ends up being one of the stars of the show.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, the gopher was sort of this invisible foe that Bill Murray was fighting in the script, but you never really saw the gopher, and they didn't really shoot any scenes with the gopher. But when they got to the editing room in L.A., none of it made any sense. So they needed something to connect all of these random funny scenes. So the producer had an idea that why don't we build an animatronic gopher, and we can shoot we'll go back to the studio, we'll beg for some more money, and we'll shoot some scenes with the gopher, and then we'll just use that as sort of like the connective tissue to connect all these random scenes. And it ended up being the thing. People hate the gopher. A lot of people hate the gopher. I don't hate the gopher, but a lot of people hate the gopher. And the thing about the gopher is he saved the picture.
Somebody asked a question here. Is it true that Bill and Chevy did not like each other?
Very true. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Bill was Chevy's replacement on Saturday Night Live.
Right.
Chevy left after the first season, and Bill was his replacement. And so there was a lot of resentment back at 30 Rock in New York, where they shot the show, that Chevy had sort of gotten a swollen head. His ego had taken off. He was going off to bigger and better things in Hollywood. And then in 1978, he came back to guest host Saturday Night Live. And people didn't like the way he was throwing his weight around. So he and Bill Murray backstage, right before the show started, got into a fist fight. And like an actual, fist fight. And so by the time that they showed up in Florida for this movie, they weren't, on good terms. Now, they were all in their best behavior once they got there, and they actually did end up having that one scene together in Carl's shack, but that was a last-minute addition, and that scene is actually the thing that sort of, made peace between the two of them after a couple of years of bad blood.
The book is called Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story. The author is Chris Nashawaty, who's joining us here on the program. Tell everybody about how hard it was to get Bill Murray on the phone for the interview, and then what he had to say once you got him on.
Yeah, Bill Murray is a different breed of cat. He, unlike a lot of most Hollywood actors, he doesn't have an agent or a publicist that you can put a request in through for an interview. What he has is this 1-800 number. And first of all, you have to get your hands on the 1-800 number, which is a pretty closely guarded secret for anyone who has it. And so I got the number, and I left about 30 messages just auditioning, basically, for Bill Murray, telling him, what I was doing, why I'm a fan, what the gist of the questions were going to be, but also just really, just tap dancing, throwing a Hail Mary pass to try to get this guy to call me back. And eventually one night, I think around 9:30, I was in my office at work. For some reason, I was still there, and the phone lit up. This is about a month after I made the first request. And the phone lit up with a South Carolina prefix, and I was like, no, it couldn't be. And I picked it up, and the voice was unmistakable. And once I had him on the line, he was great. I mean, he was happy to talk about Caddyshack. I thought maybe he wouldn't be, that he might be a little embarrassed of it now that he was this Oscar-nominated actor and blah, blah, blah. But I think he really knows how personal the story is to his family, and also just how important it was for launching his career. So he couldn't have been better.
What of the conversations you had with folks in the show, was there anything that really shocked you when they told you it?
I mean, everything shocked me. Just honestly, the fact. I mean, look, I cover Hollywood for a living, and it's become so corporate that, it's all about, when you get on a movie set, it's all about insurance and not putting anyone in danger. And there are ethics, sort of moral clauses in all the contracts. And I was just shocked at how back in 1979, 1980, how loose everything was. I mean, these guys were, at night they were having these golf cart races, and they were digging up the course. And they were, like I said, they blew up the golf course. They were doing tons of drugs. It was mayhem. And that just wouldn't happen today. And, enough time has gone by that all the people who were involved with it figured the statute of limitations was up and they could sort of confess all these stories,
And finally, with Chevy, did you get to talk to Chevy, and what was he like?
Yeah, I talked to Chevy. He was great. Chevy's got a reputation for being kind of a prickly character. And, I actually thought that he was a delight. I mean, I spent, about an hour on the phone with him talking about Caddyshack. And he couldn't have been nicer. He was really great. This movie, he had just, what's interesting is that he had just, a week before Caddyshack came out, another movie he was in came out called Oh Heavenly Dog, where he basically plays the reincarnated version of this, the movie Mutt Benji. I don't know if you're old enough to remember that.
Yes.
And so, the idea of going off and shooting a golf comedy with some of his pals like Harold Ramis and, like Rodney Dangerfield sounded like a pretty good thing compared to that. So I think he really looks back at it as a really good time in his life and knows that how important it was for, all the great movies he ended up making in the 80s.
Chris, is the book still available, Barnes & Noble and Amazon and things like that?
It sure is. It's in paperback, it's in hardcover. Go get them.
I am definitely going to get it. I really appreciate it. Like I said, it's always a good day when we can talk Caddyshack. He is Chris Nashawati. He's the author of the book Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story. Continued success, Chris. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Take care. Good stuff from Chris Nashawati on Caddyshack. When we come back, hour 2, we'll start things off with Humdinger's Trivia, so stay tuned for that. And then I believe it'll be our NFL 3-for-all. It will be, in fact, our NFL 3-for-all as we'll talk Jets and Bills. Hour 2 of Middays on the way on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
This is the sound of a blizzard treat at DQ. But it also sounds like a weekend bike ride, a post-game celebration, and a sunset on the dock. Wow! Doesn't a blizzard treat sound good? Stop by DQ and grab one today, like new Oreo fudge brownie. Thanks for being the sweetest fans in the world. DQ, happy tastes good.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
Central Barbecue is committed to the health and safety of this community, who has supported Central for almost 20 years. Central Barbecue is still open for business with to-go and delivery options to serve the greater Memphis area with the same great barbecue you have come to know and love. With 4 locations to serve you, from downtown, midtown, and East Memphis, you can order your favorite barbecue and enjoy everything on the menu in the comfort of your own home. Call your nearest Central Barbecue location for more information on delivery and to-go options today.
Southern Airways, we fly to make your day.
For the last 7 years, Southern Airways has made your weekend trips to Destin quick and easy. Avoid the big airport hassles and long boarding lines using Southern's private terminal at Memphis International. Flights to the Emerald Coast operate every Friday and Sunday. Southern also offers daily service to Dallas, Branson-Harrison, and El Dorado.
Southern Airways, we fly to make your day.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:01 is the time. Hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morris. Certainly enjoyed talking some Caddyshack with Chris Nashawati. Coming up here in hour number 2, Steve Macy from the University of Memphis will join us at 11:25. We have our NFL 3-for-all coming up in just a few moments, and we'll start things off with Humdinger's Trivia in just a second. We are in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road. That is just north of I-40. Sports 56 Middays delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor, FedEx. Visit FedEx.com/e-commerce to see how FedEx can help you start, grow, and efficiently manage your business. And again, thank you to all they're doing in this battle against COVID-19 on the front lines, delivering the medical supplies, the test kits where they are needed. And the second hour of the program is brought to you by the Window Genie, a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. Kate Robertson is the person you need to call. I'll tell you more about Window Genie in a few moments. 901-424-4100, online at windowgenie.com. Let the power of the genie work for you.
It is time for our Humdingers Trivia. It's your opportunity to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers, where you can go enjoy some great, delicious, healthy, inexpensive food. If you go to humdingersrestaurant.com, you can check out their full menu, including all the different grilled fish options that they have, with the great toppings that you can put on there. They've got the crispy fish and chips as well, chicken options, salads, sandwiches, and, of course, tacos. And today's Tuesday. That means it's Taco Tuesday. That's $2 chicken and fish tacos all day long. And those are big tacos over there at Humdingers, which will fill you up. Matter of fact, I believe I may be going over there today for a little Taco Tuesday celebration with the folks at Humdingers. But so many great things on the menu to choose from. Delicious, inexpensive, and very healthy options as well, with all those grilled fish options for you to choose from. Check them out at Poplar and Massey. And again, the website, humdingersrestaurant.com, where you can see that entire menu. Again, the first person to get the question correct, get the correct answer, will get a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. You can answer the question via text at 67129 on our First Bank text line. That's 67129, our First Bank text line. If you've never signed up to text with us, all you got to do is text 56JOIN. That's 56JOIN to 67129. You'll get a little response back letting you know that you're signed up, and then you could text us or any of the shows here on Sports 56 anytime you like. So text 56JOIN to 67129 if you've never signed up. But here is today's question. With the Grizzlies getting ready to restart their season, a little Grizzlies trivia for you here. Who holds the Grizzlies' career record for free throw percentage? And this is a minimum of at least 200 free throws attempted as a Grizzly, not somebody who came in and went 2 for 2 and that's it. At least 200 free throws attempted. Who holds the Grizzlies' career record for the highest free throw percentage? 67129 is the First Bank text line. Again, the first correct answer will get a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Interesting question. I have two guys in mind that I would choose. They're probably both wrong. At least one of them's wrong.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I bet they're not both right.
No, they're the guarantee of that one. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious to see how our listeners react to this. Text in and, again, be the first and win yourself a gift card to Humdingers. Two things before we get to our NFL 3-for-all. Number one, Patrick Chung, starting safety for the Patriots, has just opted out. So NFL camps opening up around the country. The New England Patriots have lost 6 players. Dante Hightower among them, now Patrick Chung, Brandon Bolden another. Wow. There have been a few others that have opted out. I mentioned earlier the Ravens wide receiver DeAnthony Thomas.
They also
6
lost
Patriots.
Ravens also lost Andre Smith, I believe, the offensive tackle. I think he's opted out. The Bills just had somebody opt out. There's quite a few guys opting out, but the Patriots, that's with Hightower, with Marcus Cannon, and now Patrick Chung. That's 3 major losses.
That is really, really bad as far as what they have lost so far to the opt-out. And like you said, we'll see. There's names coming in left and right. I don't believe there will be any real major names. And Patrick Chung's a big name, and Dante Hightower's a big name. But I don't think you're going to see, like, God forbid, a team losing a starting quarterback. I don't believe that's going to happen. Also, the WGC FedEx St. Jude Invitational, which is this week. Yesterday, they announced the featured groups for the tournament. And they're just about all featured groups because it's studs. You're talking about 45 of the top 50 players in the world. But these groups can include Bryson DeChambeau, Ricky Fowler, and John Rahm together. By the way, John Rahm just met the media. He said he is donating $1,000 per birdie and $5,000 per eagle to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital for what he does at the WGC. And remember, everyone's playing 4 rounds. There is no cut. So that's a pretty good trio. Then you have Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, and Webb Simpson. You have Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, and Hideki Matsuyama. And then you have the defending champion Brooks Koepka, Victor Hovland, and Patrick Reed. Now, where are we with DJs? DJ okay? I don't see him in a featured group. I haven't heard his name yet.
I know he was supposed to be in the field. I don't know that he is withdrawn. I don't know for sure. I've not seen anything new on him.
You would just think that with Dustin Johnson, all the success he's had at that track, TPC Southwind, that his name would come up in a featured group. But again, he has struggled recently, really bad last week as he didn't have to, but withdrew after one round of the 3M. And his last 3 rounds have been, 80, 80, and 78?
Yes.
Not good. Not good. Time now for our NFL 3-for-all. Carl, please, with a little music for us. Today, we take a look at the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Strike up that band. They're being paid for their work today. We're going to take a look at these two teams. We do 2 each Tuesday and Thursday leading up to the start of the NFL season. And we're giving you who we believe are the 3 most pivotal players in the history of a franchise. May not necessarily be the 3 best players, but often it is. I doubt you're going to get a player that's very average and was still that pivotal, that important to the franchise. Still trying to track down the music, but we can go ahead and start this. In fact, I will go first, Eli, with the Jets, and then you can go first with the Buffalo Bills. So we start off with the New York Jets. And one of the most iconic names, one of the most iconic faces in the history of the game is Joe Willie Namath. This is such a slam dunk. His name is synonymous with the game of football. Of course, the guarantee Super Bowl III victory, the 1965 AFL Rookie of the Year, as the Jets were an AFL team, and then a 2-time AFL Most Valuable Player. He put up really good numbers, not just eye-popping numbers, because he had issues with injuries and his knee, and at the end of his career just was an ugly sight to see him in Los Angeles with the Rams. But what wasn't an ugly sight was Joe Namath with a beautiful fur coat on with 2 women, one to each side, or hawking all those commercials, all those products that he did on commercials. Joe Namath, an easy one in our NFL 3-for-all. Number 2, I'm going with Don Maynard. Old-time wide receiver, played the first 13 years of the Jets' existence. He retired after the 73 season, and when he retired, he was the NFL's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards. Now, it's not even close to what we have now on those lists, but at that time, he was number 1. He's also the Jets' all-time leader in catches with 627, receiving yards with 11,732, and 50 100-yard games. Don Maynard, number 2 on my list. And now number 3. And this, for me, was going to be either Mark Gastineau or Joe Klecko. There we go. And I went with Mark Gastineau because he's more known than Klecko. He's more eccentric. He's more flamboyant. But also, he ended his career with 107.5 sacks, 30 more than Joe Klecko. All NFL 3 straight years from 82 to 84. Big part of that fabled New York sack exchange defensive line, which included Klecko, Marty Lyons, and I won't remember the 4th. But one of the best players in New York Jets history, and certainly one of the best defensive players in their history, Mark Gastineau, is my 3rd on my NFL 3-for-all for the New York Jets.
Well, I don't think you could possibly do the Jets and not have Joe Namath on that list. The guarantee is one of the great legendary things in NFL history. Really put the AFL kind of on the level of the NFL pre-merger. He's the He was the first quarterback ever to surpass the 4,000-yard mark in a season. And he's the only quarterback to ever do that during the 14-game schedule. No other quarterback ever threw for 4,000 yards when they had the 14-game schedule, other than Joe Namath. Two-time AFL MVP. He's one of the legendary figures of the game. I don't think there's any doubt you have to put him on there. I also agree with Mark Gastineau. The sack celebrations they were legendary. As a kid, I just remember, that's what I remember. I mean, that name just inspired. He also used to compete in the Superstars competitions a lot, too. I remember him being a part of the Superstars competitions, but he was those sack celebrations, which eventually got outlawed by the NFL. They started penalizing for that. He was just one of those great characters of the game because of the sack celebration. And he also, 1987, he was the first Jets player to cross the picket line, which did not endear himself to his teammates at the time. A couple of others later did, but he did it immediately and did not endear himself to his teammates by doing that. My third one, certainly Joe Klecko is one up there, and Don Maynard is one of them, but I went Darrelle Revis. Revis Island. He was the best cornerback in the league for a probably at least 2-3 year stretch in his time with the Jets. At that time, they went to 2 straight AFC championship games. He was an all-pro for 3 straight years. Contract issues, that injury led to him being traded out of New York. But I think Revis Island, Darrelle Revis, what he did there, I put him on there as well.
Yeah, I was looking at Darrelle Revis, too. I gave him heavy consideration. So, yeah, I can completely understand Revis there. You had mentioned Klecko. I mentioned Klecko. I don't know if there was a ton of other guys that I gave serious consideration for the Jets.
Bobby texted on the First Bank text line, and he says Mark Gastineau, Joe Namath, and he has Curtis Martin. And certainly Curtis Martin had a great career with the Jets, but it's kind of like Curtis Martin's overall career is just kind of a quiet, behind-the-scenes great numbers, and so I didn't really consider him that much.
Yes, you hit it on the head. If you are just looking at the 3 greatest Jets, I think you can make a strong argument for Curtis Martin. You certainly can make an argument like Bobby does for putting him on our list, but remember, it's the 3 most impactful, pivotal names of an organization. And you're right, Curtis Martin just did his thing, but there was nothing sexy about it. And I think that is part of this. It's guys that are producing but also leave their mark. I don't know if necessarily Curtis Martin has left his mark. Now, Don Maynard wasn't the sexiest guy either, but 13 years, the first 13 years of the organization, all the numbers he put up, him was Namath's go-to guy. That's why he made my list.
Somebody else texted and said Freeman McNeil was really good. And I think if you were going to take one of the 2 running backs, I think you could make as good a case for Freeman McNeil as you could for Curtis Martin.
He had good numbers. I mean, if you want to go old school, you had Emerson Boozer and Matt Snell. But those guys, again, just pale in comparison, in my opinion, to the impact of the 3 guys that are on my list and the 3 guys that are on your list. Again, 2 are the same. But Revis, I certainly think, is one that would be heavily considered. I just can't go Freeman McNeil and they were really good, but I don't think they're that impactful. Okay. Any more text on the Jets?
No.
Okay, let's move on to the Buffalo Bills. You started off.
The Bills was interesting. The Bills was 2 were easy for me. The third
Steve
one,
Norwood.
The third one was really difficult to narrow down.
Okay.
Bruce Smith has to be on the list. To be NFL record holder for sacks with 200, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 8 times first-team All-Pro. I mean, he's just one of the great defensive linemen of all time. He was on the team while they were going to the 4 straight Super Bowls, leader of that defense. To me, no doubter, Bruce Smith is on the list. Same thing with Jim Kelly, leading them to 4 straight Super Bowls. The whole K-Gun offense, everything about him and the way he led that offense and the numbers they put up, I think you absolutely have to have Jim Kelly on the list as well. Then the third one, I looked at a lot of different guys, but I went a little kind of off the board here. I go Steve Tasker, because I think Steve Tasker kind of changed special teams for a lot of guys. It showed like you could be a almost pretty much a special teams specialist and make a great career in the NFL, go to Pro Bowls. He was a Pro Bowl MVP as a special teams guy as well. And I think changed the way some teams looked for guys to be that type of impact player on special teams. So I went Steve Tasker as my third Buffalo Bill.
Okay. Bruce Smith, given 200 sacks is nuts. 11-time All-Pro. Number 1 pick in the 85 draft. You're talking about one of the greatest defensive linemen to ever play the game. Jim Kelly's numbers are incredible. He leads the team to 4 Super Bowls, although 4 losses. But he threw for over 35,000 yards and 237 touchdowns, and also played in the USFL. He had 22 fourth-quarter comeback wins. And then the heroic battle with cancer. How many different times we think, oh my gosh, we're going to lose Jim Kelly? And he battles right back from it, which was basically in a microcosm his life on the football field mirrored what he did in real life in this battle against cancer. Jim Kelly, my gosh, absolutely. But I gotta go for one of my iconic Buffalo Bills players. My 3-for-all has to include the juice. It has to include O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson, as a kid, I wrote a book report about O.J. Simpson in school. He was it for me watching this guy go. The first running back to go for over 2,000 yards. He did it in 73, and he did it in 14 games. He was the AP Athlete of the Year in 73, not just the league MVP. He was the Associated Press Athlete of the Year, a 5-time All-Pro player, NFL 75th anniversary all-time team. This doesn't really matter for this, but was an incredible, iconic running back at USC. And then he committed a couple of murders. No big deal. But as far as an iconic player and a player that was impactful, it's got to be, for me, O.J. Simpson.
Let's see, a couple of texts here. Somebody brings up Wesley Walker for the Jets.
Good receiver.
Somebody else says, look at Curtis Martin's all-time numbers. He's up there. And there's no doubt Curtis Martin's numbers are great. Again, I'm not questioning his greatness. He's a Hall of Famer. But it's just, again, they weren't very good at the time he was there. And again, he just kind of did it so quietly and almost behind the scenes and putting up those numbers.
Yeah, and again, this is why I came up with this concept. I didn't want to say the 3 greatest players, because then you basically look at stats, just stats. That's why I wanted to say the 3 most impactful players, what they did as part of the organization, on the field, off the field, everything about them. So I wanted to make it a little bit different.
Somebody says Tasker over OJ. Kidding, right? I understand. I mean, but first, I wasn't there to watch O.J. Simpson play, and what he did after his playing career doesn't matter in figuring this out.
Right.
So I mean, I get it. I'm not going to say that he doesn't belong on there. I certainly looked at him, but I wanted to do a little something different. No, so I was Steve Tasker.
Look, first of all, it's your prerogative, but I'm in agreement with the texter. Steve Tasker over O.J. Simpson. No, but it's also the impact he had as a player and off-the-field stuff during the time he was a player. So we're not talking about 25 years
him
later.
Becoming an actor and then an alleged murderer has nothing to do with this.
No, but he was so iconic. And again, you're younger than me. In 73, I'm 12 years old, man. I'm watching NFL football. I'm watching the juice run wild for 14 games going over 2,000 yards. It was unheard of. And that's why not only the MVP of the league, but the AP Athlete of the Year. He was that good an athlete. I mean, there was nothing like O.J. Simpson in those early 70s running the ball the way he did. He was just, I mean, when Walter Payton came around, Walter Payton he flowed, man. He was like on air, running on air. But O.J. really started that, because before we had O.J., Gale Sayers was a great running back as well, but a lot of guys were just bruisers. They hammered their way into the end zone. O.J. Simpson would just blow by you. He could run you over. He didn't have the Barry Sanders moves, all of them, but man, he was. I can't describe him other than saying he was iconic.
Another person texts in and says for the Bills, Smith, Kelly, and O.J. Yeah, again, I mean, there's certainly It's hard to leave Bruce Smith and Chip Kelly off because of the success that they had while they were there as the two, the offensive leader and the defensive leader. I mean, you go to 4 straight Super Bowls. That's pretty impactful. So it's hard to ignore those two guys. That's for sure.
Right. The Bills, even when OJ was playing, they weren't that good. And then all of a sudden, you have this Kelly-led team with the great defensive players, Andre Reed, of course, Thurman Thomas. There's another guy you can certainly give consideration to, Thurman Thomas. And they go to 4 straight Super Bowls. They don't win any, but they still get the 4 straight Super Bowls. All right, Thursday, the New York Football Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 storied histories, a lot of players that have come through and have played for those 2 organizations. Those will be our 2 teams on Thursday for our NFL 3-for-all. When we come back, we're going to talk University of Memphis athletics with Steve Macy. But I do want to tell you about our second hour sponsor, Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, locally owned and operated by lifelong Memphis area resident Kate Robertson. Kate has a team of professionals that can take care of you today. Window Genie takes care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows, and they have a streak-free guarantee. But it's so much more than just the windows. They clean your gutters. They can do pressure washing and house washing. I've told you a number of times now, they pressure washed my patio. It's looking tremendous, and I'm very, very thankful to them. They do a great job. Pressure washing can really make that home shine, make your patio shine. They take off all the grunge on the sides of the walls and things. Your concrete, they can make your concrete clean. They can also seal concrete. They can clean and seal brick and natural stone as well. They do window tinting on your home. They are insured, bonded, member of the Better Business Bureau, uniformed professional workers, wrapped vehicles that you'll see throughout the area. They are COVID-19 conscious. Their employees will wear masks at the door, shoe covers if they enter your home. You can call them 7 days a week to schedule an appointment. You can get a free estimate as well. So call Kate at 901-424-4100, even if it's just to get the free estimate. They will come over and they will check it out. And if you mention you heard it here on Sports 56, they're going to give you 15% off window cleaning or pressure washing, your choice. So ask for the Sports 56 discount. Let the power of the Genie work for you. Again, call Kate at 901-424-4100. 901-424-4100. Please tell her that you heard it here on Sports 56 Middays or go online to windowgenie.com. Steve is next, talking Memphis athletics. This is Sports 56 Middays.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 96.1 FM, or 87.7 FM.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models, each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today, shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
Farmers Insurance knows that there's a not-so-subtle difference between the sound of a car hitting your rear bumper and the sound of a clown car hitting your rear bumper.
Whoa, 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 whoa! Sorry about that.
We call that a 3-ring fender bender, and we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent.
They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 11:25 the time.
We still do not have a correct answer in the Humdingers trivia. We've had a lot of folks guessing, but none of them correctly.
I haven't seen the guesses, but I am going to guess that the 2 that I was thinking of are both wrong because they're pretty obvious ones to guess.
This wouldn't be an obvious name by any means, but we're still looking for the correct answer for a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers of who is the Grizzlies' career leader in free throw percentage. And again, this is a minimum of at least 200 free throw attempts with the Grizzlies. Career leader in free throw attempts. I will say he did play in Memphis. This isn't somebody from the Vancouver days. Like, this is somebody that did play in Memphis and didn't play here that long ago. Who is the Grizzlies' career record holder for free throw percentage? And text that to 67129. Correct answer gets you a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers, as long as you're the first correct answer.
Without further ado, time to talk with our friend Steve Macy, University of Memphis Senior Associate AD. We do it every Tuesday. You can follow Steve on Twitter at Steve Macy. He joins us now on Middays. Hey, Steve.
Hi, guys.
How you feeling?
I feel good. I know the answer to your trivia question. I just won't give it away.
I bet you do.
You call me a liar? That's fair.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Well, just text it to me once we get done.
I'll do that.
Steve, we were talking about this earlier in the show. Pete Thamel had tweeted this out about the NCAA issuing a blanket waiver to allow all FBS schools to start on August 29th. It'll be known as Week 0. So to basically stretch out the season because of the unpredictability of things that could happen, games that could end up being canceled or moved around. This seems like it's a intelligent move to lengthen the season so schools and conferences, depending on how many games they plan to play, can get all those games in.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, maximum flexibility is smart, and giving yourselves room to breathe and to move, and giving that extra week to move some things around is a good thing. I don't know if it'll impact us and where we'll end up in terms of, will the home opener still be on September 5th, or would we take advantage of going earlier? But I think it's a good decision to go ahead and say, all right, how do we find more ways to generate more of the games that we all want to see played.
So, Steve, with that, are they allowing the teams to start their actual real camp a week earlier, or would you just lose a week of practice, full practice?
No, what you do, there's a finite number of practices you can have, and they made a change of this a few years back. Instead of it being an actual date, there's a date before which you can't do anything, but then there's also a certain number of impacts you can have, the number of times you can be with your team. So you just have to make decisions. You're going to do 2 a day, or you're going to do 1 a day. What are you going to do? How are you going to break it up? So it just kind of changes your overall clock. And we've been kind of playing around with different clocks based on some of the things we're hearing. This whole time it's been kind of difficult to figure out exactly when people are going to report, and that was something we were dealing with all summer long, and I think we're in good shape now, though.
With the extra 2 weeks that were afforded to schools, not to practice, but to basically lengthen the camp with walkthroughs and things of that nature, that's already underway, correct? And if so, like what can be done during that time?
Right now we are doing some workout stuff with our student athletes. Before it was just some voluntary stuff. Now it's more in the structured area of things, and that'll continue. And we can move into the next phase and have more people together. If we get into that, once we get to that, that'll start changing them from being individual and small group workouts into larger group workouts.
So we earlier today, and we've seen this, I guess, last week as well. The Big 12 seems to be planning on playing a full schedule as they are replacing games lost by the Big Ten. Today, Iowa State replaced their game with Iowa by picking up Ball State for a 12th game on their schedule, which it seems to be a little weird. You guys right now are not looking to replace the Purdue game, right? You're just kind of waiting to see what happens.
Yeah, we didn't think it made any sense at this point in time to make any wholesale changes until we had a better sense of where everybody was going to come out on this thing. So, I understand the Big 12, and the Big 12 probably has the hardest math problem to solve since they only have 10 members. The maximum number of games they could get in is 9. Some of these other conferences that have 14, 15, or 16 schools have a little bit easier job of filling out an entire schedule by having just conference games. So, even in the American with 11 football playing members, we could only get a maximum of 10 games if that was the case, if that's what we ended up going to as a league. And I think there's going to be some more trading around like that. I think it's hard trying to pin it all down, but it's also going to be hard to say, hey, we're going to change our schedule at the last minute because it isn't the easiest thing to do. We've done it. We've seen it happen many times before with hurricanes that come through, and teams tend to find a way to make some changes happen, even with the complications of charter flights. But I think as you're looking at something that's a little bit uncommon, and this is certainly going in the column of things that are uncommon right now, there's going to be some things that we're going to do that are not of the normal ways of doing them. And it may mean that there's some games changed around at the last minute or leading up to the last minute.
Is it safe to say that the group of five, or as Mike Resco likes to call it, the autonomy five, is waiting to see what the Power Five conferences are going to do before they announce anything?
I think that's probably a fair assessment, to see exactly what the autonomous five are doing. Let's see what they'll decide to do. And like what you said, with the Big 12 replacing games now, and we're knowing for sure that the Big 10 and the Pac-12 are just going to be playing conference games. And, if the SEC goes to that, that's going to impact a lot more games too. And if the ACC goes to that, for sure, that's going to impact several of our teams as well. So there are some dominoes that happen once those decisions are made. And I think, just bluntly, if the Conference USA or the Mid-American decided they were going conference games only, that would be okay. We'll adjust. But if it's, like for us that we lost the Purdue game, that matters a little bit more. So I think trying to figure out what they're going to do before we make any sort of announcement decision is the right thing to do.
Ohio State has also announced that they will have no more than 20% capacity for attendance. But again, you guys in that realm are still kind of in a holding pattern and waiting, right?
We
still
are.
Planning on the 50%, up to 50%?
We are working with the health department, the Shelby County Health Department, to determine exactly which aspects of our plans that they will accept. And once that decision's made, that will set in motion a lot of other things in terms of what we can accommodate, how we need to accommodate them, how are we going to do seating, how are we going to do tailgating. All of those things will follow. It's the same conversation we've been having about where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. And as soon as we have that finalized, well, then that'll kind of trigger the rest of our season ticket plan and overall seating plan for the year.
It's a different situation, but the premise is still the same, with 901 FC having some fans at their game on Saturday. And we talked about this recently, where I asked you if you'll be paying attention to what they're doing. So did you learn anything from the first sporting event with fans that 901 FC had this past Saturday?
I think you saw what is making the Shelby County Health Department comfortable. And that was, the plan that they worked out together with the 901 FC. And, we were paying attention. But it's also a continuous conversation about the different elements of our game. And, really the main areas that we are focusing on are what does pregame look like from a standpoint of, hey, what are we going to do from a tailgating perspective? Then there's the game itself and in the stands. And then there's the premium areas, which would be the stadium club and the suites. What are the rules going to be in each of those three areas and how we're going to do it? And then there's working on the technical side of how to do it. How do we get people in and out of the stadium? Mm-hmm. How do we determine exactly where their seats are going to be? How do we get them to and from their seats in a safe manner? And so that's what all will be worked through and is being worked on now. It's just a matter of once the agreement or once the plan is approved, we'll put everything else into play, make a bunch of announcements, and start working on a good communication plan so that everybody understands exactly what we're going to be doing for the year.
You, just personally, your opinion, do you feel confident that the season will still be able to start on time?
Do you remember, like, when you were dating, your younger days, like in high school, whatever, and you get a girl you really liked? And then she kind of did like you, then she kind of didn't like you back, and then maybe she liked it, then she liked you back. This is how this feels. Like, one day I'm feeling on top of the world. I mean, she's the greatest girl, and she really likes me. The next day, Major League Baseball has to cancel games, and I'm thinking she doesn't like me anymore. And then the next day, there's no positives from the other teams, and I'm thinking she likes me. That's how it feels. It has been a very emotional roller coaster just because you're working like crazy to do the right thing and to do the best thing and to serve as many people as you possibly can. And you have these feelings back and forth of, yep, I feel really confident we're going to be in great shape, and this is going to go forward, and we're going to have sports in some way, shape, or form, and the next minute you get a little bit nervous. But I still feel like we're okay, and that there's going to be better news ahead. But Eli, like you said, it's a feeling, and we're gonna prepare like we're going to play, and we're going to prepare for it all the way until the last possible moment. And the only way that we're not going to play is if it's a hard no, you can't. Until that point, though, we're going to keep after it and keep preparing and keep getting ready for a season that's coming up.
The Russian judge gives you a 4.7 on that analogy.
Yeah, it wasn't really good. It sounded a lot better in my head before it came out. I got to work on that one.
I thought it was pretty good.
No, it was good. The point's well taken because with young love, it's very flexible from minute to minute, hour to hour, and that's what we got here. This isn't day to day. This is hour to hour. And if you're on social media as much as we are, every second there's a different story. One's a positive story, one's a negative story. So it's going to drive you crazy if you just take it to heart every day.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say. And I won't use an analogy anymore. I'll just say it straight up like you just did.
I like your analogy. I like your analogy better.
So let me
so
ask you.
Are you handing the football season a note every day saying, do you like me? Check yes or no?
Check this box. Actually, I love that idea.
Oh, gosh, that brings back memories. Steve Macy joining us from the University of Memphis. You guys and Laird, since Laird took over as the AD, the school and the athletic department has been very transparent with their fans. They've told it like it is and tried to give them as much information as possible. We talked last week about the email that was sent out to ticket holders and other people, part of the Tiger family. Laird, basically saying where we are and where we hope to go, but where things could go, and kind of laying the groundwork for the future. I would imagine it keeps people up at nights in your administration over there in the offices trying to figure out possible game plans moving forward.
Yeah, there's some sobering scenarios, right? That you start really worrying about being able to create the types of revenues you need to continue to operate at the level we're at. And I think that Memphis is our largest chunk of financial impact on our program. It comes from donations and from ticket sales, and those donations largely are tied to ticket sales as well. So it's kind of all in one large lump that we really rely on. And we do it in a lean way, and we don't have a very big staff. We've got people that are really talented around this building that I'm proud to work with and call colleagues, and trying to find a way to continue to make it work. And if you lose those revenues, it starts. We're at a point now with the stuff we've cut, we're going to have to start cutting into some bone. I mean, it's been some really creative cuts that we've had to do, and some of our programs are having a tough time. We've eliminated a lot of flights for non-conference events, and non-conference events that would be important for those teams to, for their NCAA aspirations and games and their matches or events that they've normally played in that are prestigious. And so we've had to get into some of those events that we didn't want to from a budgetary standpoint, but that's part of what we're trying to do right now is to say, hey, we're gonna make a really hard decision this year and hope that it's just for 1 year. But if we get into a point where we have a significant cut or further cut in revenues, well, then we've got some harder decisions to make.
Yeah.
Well, I do have some good news for you, Steve. We've got some correct answers on the trivia, so you can go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Let everybody know who the answer is.
You know what? I know how much you like to say those answers up front, so I'll go ahead and I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, okay, I appreciate you doing that. Thanks, Steve.
Hey, Steve, one last thing before we let you go. I know right now the whole concentration has been on fall sports and in particular football. But as soon as football is expected to start, I mean, basketball's right there on the cusp. It's right around the corner. And now we're talking about a whole different beast. We're talking about an indoor deal. And I know that you got the Caribbean trip on the schedule, and I just can't see that happening. So I wonder if there's already talk about the possibility of trying to make up games add games to the schedule if that's not played, or if maybe they'll move that into the lower 48, or what's going to happen with. Have you gotten to that point yet where you're starting to actually look at basketball too?
There are some preliminary looks at basketball and a few deep dives into some of the what ifs, and part of that is, do other conferences again go with a conference-only schedule or a modified conference-only plus just a couple others? We're tracking what other conferences are looking at doing, and the NCAA obviously has a little bigger impact on other sports other than football, and so they're going to be heavily engaged in this process as well. And there's a lot of different models and ideas and concepts, and I'm sure you've read many of them talking about splitting seasons up versus starting them earlier, starting them later. All of that will have a major impact, and for us here in Memphis, it's even more complicated since we share the facility with the Grizzlies, and so there have to be dates available for us to move things around, and that's always one of the biggest parts of the puzzle for us from a scheduling standpoint is available dates, and so that'll be a bear to deal with. I mean, it's going to be something that if it's going to be anything other than a normal-looking schedule, it'll require a whole lot of moving parts, and it won't just impact men's basketball; it'll impact women's basketball. And then, as you start getting into the spring, what does it do to the spring sports, which are thankfully all outdoors? But what kind of impact does it have on a lot of these things? So there's still a lot more things to untangle. It is a big old mess of a knot.
It is indeed. Steve, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Stay well. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys, and congratulations to the trivia answers, the proper answers.
Appreciate it, man. All right, who's the winner? And what's the answer? See, my guess was going to be Shane Battier.
No, not Shane Battier.
Jason Williams was the other one.
Jason Williams.
I know the answer.
Jason Williams is in the top 10. Jason Williams is number 8. Shane Battier didn't even make the top 10.
Didn't make the top 10? Who's your guess, Carl?
I think I have the right answer.
Well, we already have the right answer there, so what's your guess?
Courtney Lee.
Courtney Lee is correct.
Wow, good job, man. You didn't look that up, did you? Oh, he looked it up.
Courtney Lee shot 86.2% in his time with the Grizzlies from the free throw line. That's number 1 all time. Brian Cardinal, number 2. James Posey,
custodian,
number 3. Mario Chalmers, number 4. Byron Scott, going back to Vancouver, number 5. Mike Conley is 6th. O.J. Mayo, 7th. Then Jason Williams, Jeff Green, and Chucky Adkins rounding out the top 10 all time. We did have a lot of people end up getting it right. 2 of them came in at the exact same time. They tied for first. So, Carl, I need you to give me a number, either number 1 or number 2 to pick our winner.
2.
All right. We will notify that winner and let you know how you are going to get your prize. So congratulations to you. To the one he didn't pick, well, you could blame Carl for that. New Life Medical Center, 9160 Highway 64. They're in the Shops at Stonebridge. They're not far from I-40. Open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 1 on Saturday. 45% of men over the age of 30 have low testosterone. It's easy to get checked out to see if you do have low testosterone. And if you do, you can get testosterone replacement therapy to help with a number of different things health-wise, just mainly to help you feel better day to day. Plus, they do all kinds of other services. They do primary and urgent care for you at New Life Medical Center. NewLifeMedCenters.com is the website. 213-0100, the phone number. That's 213-0100. Again, it's New Life Medical Center, 9160 Highway 64.
More bad news in Major League Baseball. We'll tell you about it when we return. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56WHBQ.com.
Hey, you should move over. Red right return.
Right, red right return.
No, just red right return because
No, I'm saying red right return, but then right to agree.
Okay, but you're on the...
I should have said correct. I know it's red right return, but...
You're on the left and it's red right return. Red right return.
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive has you covered as a leader in boat insurance. Get a quote today at Progressive.com.
Oh, I was on the left. Right.
Please stop talking.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Hi, this is Jay Farner, CEO of Rocket Mortgage. Making the right financial decisions has never been more important. We can help guide you to those right decisions now, when they matter most. Mortgage rates are near historic lows, so when you call 8338-ROCKET or visit us at rocketmortgage.com to start your refinance, you'll be well on your way to saving money every month. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.375%, APR 3.59%. Right now could be a great time for you to take some positive financial steps forward with a cash-out refinance from Rocket Mortgage, which could give you the boost that you're looking for. In addition, we may be able to help you refinance with little or no out-of-pocket costs. At Rocket Mortgage, we're committed to every client, every time, no exceptions, no excuses, giving you the best mortgage experience. Call us today at 8338-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com to learn more.
Rates subject to change. Pay 1.875% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by the Window Genie. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Again, for the Window Genie, call Kate Robertson. She will steer you in the right direction, help you out, make that decision easy for you. 901-424-4100. 901-424-4100. Call Kate today for the Window Genie. So another team has made a decision. We talked about the bad decision made by the Marlins to play their game. I guess it was the second game or the third game of the series with the Phillies when they had to vote after the first positive test came out. Was it game 2 or game 3?
No, it was before Sunday's game.
It was before game 3. Okay, so they decided to play, and the rest is history. There are now 17 members of the Marlins who have tested positive. Well, the Washington Nationals have decided we're not traveling to Miami for their weekend series with the Marlins. That was reported first by Ken Rosenthal. But it says here that the decision rests.
They don't get the ultimate decision.
Okay, why are the Nats or why are the Marlins voting on playing, and yet the Nats here? I'm confused. Why one team gets to make a decision that important, the other one doesn't?
Because the Marlins didn't go to Major League Baseball. They didn't do anything. Like they didn't go to Major League Baseball and let them know what was going on. They just decided they were going to just go ahead and play.
Gotcha.
Without doing anything.
So if they decided they didn't want to go to play, then they would have to go to baseball. They would have to get the approval
They
of
should have called Major League Baseball and
That's
said,
what I'm saying.
Here's what's happening. We have these positive tests. Are we supposed to play? What are we supposed to do here? They didn't do any of that. They just had a little vote amongst themselves. Yeah, then we're going to go ahead and play. Who cares?
Yeah, but Manfred, who's already looking like an evil villain since the labor negotiations earlier this summer and guaranteeing a season, even though in the end he was right, there is at least a start of a season. He's the evil villain. So there's no way he's going to sit here and say, no, you have to go. In this day and age, with COVID-19, with everything that's happened with the Marlins, is he going to make them go, or they'd have to forfeit?
Well, if they say if they don't go, then you might as well just shut the Marlins down and say they're not playing the season. Because I guarantee you others are going to follow this and say, well, we're not going either. I mean, Miami's one of the hotbeds in America as it is. I mean, and if you're letting one team, like, how are you making up those games? How are you going to determine this in the schedule later on? You don't have a bunch of off days to make up games.
Yeah, so if you end up making the Nats forfeit these 3 games, all of a sudden the Marlins are going to be like 58-2. I don't know. It's a tough situation. They've obviously prepared somewhat for crazy scenarios and teams losing multiple players, but I don't know if they expected the first weekend for one team to have 17 positive tests, 15 of those being players. That's a tough call. That's a tough call. But if you're the commissioner, how can you sit there though in this time with everything that's going on with COVID-19 and force a team to go play another team that has been besieged, has been just ravaged by positive tests? I don't know if you can.
I don't know how they're going to navigate all this, but it's either, to me, if you're going to say that teams can just say, no, we're not going to go down there to play, you might as well shut the Marlins down. Say, sorry, you guys are done.
I don't know. I don't have any answers.
And everybody in that division is going to play, I guess, 10 less games than all the other teams in Major League Baseball, which makes no sense because of these. I don't know how you're going to discern them in the last 2 playoff spots when some teams in divisions are playing 60 and another division's only playing 50. And in the American League East, they would be losing 10 games.
That's why there's an asterisk next to every winner this year in every sport. I'm sorry. There are people that will argue with me. No asterisk. Yes, we've never seen anything like this. This is unprecedented. So there's going to be that type of craziness. Look, we already have a runner starting at second base in extra innings. I mean, that's stupid as it is. So it doesn't matter to me. If you got to eliminate a team, if you have to come up with just some cockamamie things, that's part of what's going on right now, and that's what's happening. But I don't see how you could say, yeah, you guys have to go down there. Now, how often are they testing in baseball? I know in the NFL with camps opening today, they're testing the first 2 weeks every single day. Think about that. How many tests that is. The first 2 weeks of NFL camps, every team, every player, probably every member of the organization that's down on the field, including all the coaches, maybe some management, testing every single day. So if you're testing every day, that means you're having to get results back right away. I don't know how they're doing that. So what is baseball doing? Because
I don't know what their standard is for exactly how often they're testing. I'm not sure.
My point is, if tomorrow they test all these 17 guys again, and they have to get 2 negatives, right? So are they able to get 2 before the weekend?
I don't know once you've tested positive. I don't know how they handle it once you've tested positive when they test you again. Especially if you're asymptomatic, I don't know how long they wait to test you again to see if it's an every day, every other day. I don't know how I have no idea how they're handling regular testing, and also I don't know how they're handling testing once you have a positive test, how long they wait before you can test again to see if you're negative and all of that stuff. I really don't. It's weird because Juan Soto, I read something on him earlier. Juan Soto apparently has had 6 negative tests, but he hasn't had 2 in a row. And you have to have 2 in a row to be reinstated.
What? Wait, so he goes negative, then positive, then negative, then positive? Something's wrong with the system then. Something's wrong with the testing if that's happening.
Yeah, Juan Soto has tested negative 6 times, but hasn't had 2 negative tests more than 24 hours apart is what it is.
What?
That's.
I think people are just winging this. I really do. I think they're just winging it. They're best educated guesses on how things should go. But you're telling me that this guy, so he's negative, and then he's positive. Then he's negative. Then he's positive again. Something's not right. Something's not right with that.
So yeah, he's apparently very frustrated
I
because
would
he
be
can't
too.
Yeah, his from Bob Nightingale, he is reportedly tested negative 6 times, 3 by Major League Baseball, 3 by the team, but has not had back-to-back negative tests. So he keeps him out of action.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So I don't know. So here's a guy who with that. So that's what if that happens to all 15 Marlins players?
Then you shut them down.
Like what? They can't ever get back into the game because they can't get 2 in a row. They getting these positives mixed in there, so half their team continues to be out for who knows how long.
Right. I need a doctor to explain that to me. I don't get it. I don't understand that one at all.
There's false. There's false positives.
That's true.
A lot, and there's false positives, false negatives.
Don't you think though, if the guy has taken 6 tests since the first positive test? He's had 6 negative tests, but not 2 in a row, meaning he's had some positive tests, right? That something's flawed. Something's wrong. I would tend to think that he's negative and not positive because there's more negative tests.
But you just go majority wins?
Yes. Yes. The majority wins.
We're just going to test you. It's a best of 7. It's just like the World Series. We're going to test everybody 7 times. Whichever comes out on top gets it. Maybe it's a sweep. If it's a sweep, it's over.
You give me the medical explanation how he tests negative, then positive, negative, then positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. What? I don't get it. Adam Schefter reporting the number 1 overall pick Joe Burrow has agreed in principle to his first contract in the NFL. Not bad if you could find this type of work. $36.1 million contract with the Bengals pending a physical later this week. Burrow is receiving 100% of his $23.88 million signing bonus from the Bengals within 15 days of executing his contract. That's nice, isn't it? Sign your contract. Here's $23.88 million. We'll have it for you in the next 2 weeks. That's pretty special. When we come back, hour number 3 of the program, we'll have our 5 favorite songs. Today's category is Eyes. That's EYES. Text in your lists via the First Bank text line at 67129. You can watch us live, message us with those lists at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Instagram. 2.5 questions also coming up in hour number 3. And who knows what else. Things breaking every 5 minutes in sports. And we will bring you the latest. Talk a little Grizz as well as they get ready for their final scrimmage. That'll be coming up at 1 o'clock today against the Miami Heat and Andre Iguodala. This is Sports 56 Middays.
For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the Little Red Tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. Well, Mid-South Ag can show you they aren't just for farms anymore. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, they can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and towing and then some. Stop by Mid-South Ag Equipment or call 662-890-3141 to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is the sound of a blizzard treat at DQ. But it also sounds like a weekend bike ride, a post-game celebration, and a sunset on the dock. Wow! Doesn't a blizzard treat sound good? Stop by DQ and grab one today, like new Oreo fudge brownie. Thanks for being the sweetest fans in the world. DQ. Happy tastes good.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports 56 Middays delivered by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Pour me something tall and strong, make it a hurricane before I go insane.
Welcome back, everybody. High noon here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Middays. I'm so happy that we have this music segment to kind of brighten up everybody's day. Even when it's a category like sad or crying, it's still happy compared to what we have to talk about every day in this day and age with COVID-19, with all the things that are affecting us as human beings, but also the sports world, which, of course, is what we talk about 3 hours a day, every day here on this program. So I'm glad we have the music to break up the monotony. Sports 56 Middays is delivered each and every day by our title and presenting sponsor. That is FedEx, providing global access for small business. Learn more at FedEx.com/e-commerce. The third hour of the program is brought to you by our friends at East Memphis Ace Hardware, located at 5143 Quince Road. It's right next door to Billy Hardwick's All-Star Lanes. You can go online to acehardware.com. They have free shipping. You can call them and ask them any question you have. Find out what they have in stock, 901-683-8688. They're open Monday through Saturday, 8 to 7, Sunday, 10 to 4. And we're in the Family Leisure Studios, where family and fun come together. Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morris. Tomorrow, by the way, Pete Praddick is going to join us, the television voice of the Grizzlies. Who'll wrap up what takes place today, their game against the Miami Heat, which is their third and final scrimmage, and we'll preview the upcoming resumption of the regular season starting Friday with Portland. Also tomorrow, our friend Steve Sands from the Golf Channel on NBC to talk golf, WGC, FedEx St. Jude Invitational. And speaking of that, we'll make our picks with our four-man scramble. That's all coming up on the show tomorrow. But today, it's all about songs with I in the title. And I don't mean the letter I mean the word I. Eli, I found this to be very tough because there was a lot of quality.
Yeah, there were some good songs here. Good quality choices. Lots of good quality choices to choose from. I had to leave a couple off that I did not want to.
Yeah, I think there's probably 3 or 4 that are, I'm not going to say my top 50 songs of all time, but they're certainly way up there. Songs that I really enjoy that I had to leave off. Now, Carl had his first taste yesterday. I hate to say it. I got to give you. I'll be nice in the grading because it was your first time, so I'll give you a C because you had never done it before.
I'll take a C.
But now we expect an A because you've had some time. You've put together your list, and again, it's songs with the word I, E-Y-E, in the title. So, Carl, give us your list starting at number 5.
Okay, my list starting at number 5 is an artist named Meek Mill, hip-hop recording artist.
Meek Mill. Yeah.
He has a song called All Eyes on You.
All Eyes on You, okay?
Yes. Another recording artist named Doe B has a song called Eye for an Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Then another artist named Gucci Man has a song called Both Eyes Closed.
Both Eyes Closed.
Then number 2 is Tupac, All Eyes on Me.
Okay.
And my number 1 is a song we're all pretty familiar with, especially being Tiger fans. Eye of the Tiger.
Go ahead and play it. Little Survivor, number 1 for Carl.
Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his
If you don't know this song and live in Memphis, then something's wrong. I don't know how many times we've all heard this song.
I mean, this is just one of the great, stadium anthem workout song. It's just one of those songs that just gets you going.
Yeah, and a fun fact, a friend of the show lost him at a young age, Jimmy Jameson, who just was absolutely tremendous voice. Part of Survivor, but not with the band when they made that song. He was around with a number of other hits, but he sang that song many, 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 many times, but was not the original singer on that song. Eye of the Tiger, number 1 for Carl. All right, Eli.
All right, number 5, I go Lion Eyes by the Eagles. Number 4, In Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel. Number 3, Eye of the Tiger. Number 2 was actually number 1 in our category when we did colors. Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison is my number 2. My number 1.
Her hair is hollow gold, her lips sweet surprise. Her hands are never cold. She's got Betty Davis eyes. She'll turn her music on you.
Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes, number 1 for me. Great song.
I love that song. I absolutely love that song. I'm glad you have it on your list. You had it number 1, which surprised me. I don't have it on my list, and I'm so mad that I don't have it on my list. I had the opportunity, but there's just too many good songs in this category. I found this category to be extremely tough, and it was rough for me to have to leave off the great Kim Carnes and Betty Davis Eyes, but I did. Number 5 for me, Ebony Eyes by Bob Welch. Number 4.
The former pitcher, I did not know he was a recording artist.
No, former
Cy Young Award winner and recording artist. Wow.
Former Fleetwood Mac member, Bob Welch with Ebony Eyes, one of his 2 great songs, along with Sentimental Lady. Number 4, Brown Eyed Girl, Van Morrison. It was on my list as well when we did the colors. Number 3, My Eyes Adored You by Frankie Valli. Number 2, These Eyes by The Guess Who. And here's my number 1.
I reach out from the inside. In your eyes, the light, the heat. I am complete. See the doorway. 1,000 churches. Resolution.
Oh, I love this song. The great Peter Gabriel, In Your Eyes, which was in your top 5, and it is my number 1 song. Again, so many good songs with eyes in the title that I had to say sayonara to, including Lion Eyes by the Eagles, which you had, and Betty Davis Eyes, which was your number 1. But I love my list.
All right. Facebook, folks over on Facebook, Carolyn, These Eyes, the Guess Who. For Your Eyes Only, Sheena Easton. Eyes on Fire, Blue Foundation. In Your Eyes by The Weeknd. Eyes Blue Like the Atlantic by Sista Prod and Suburbs.
Wow. Never heard of them.
Honorable mention to Eyes Without a Face by Billy Idol.
Gave it consideration.
I did as well. John, Eye in the Sky by Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah, another one I gave consideration to. I hated leaving that one off.
Behind Blue Eyes by The Who, Eye of the Tiger, Lion Eyes, and Sight for Sore Eyes by Tom Waits.
Is that a different person with the Tom Waits?
I think, I can't remember if Bobby or John is the one that usually has Tom Waits. I think it's usually Bobby. Let's see. Bobby has In Another's Eyes, Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. Angel Eyes, Jeff Healey. Mama's Hungry Eyes, Merle Haggard. Beauty's in the Eye of the Beer Holder by I Set My Friends on Fire.
That's the name of the group?
I guess so.
Not a real nice guy.
Number 1, Bluest Eyes in Texas by Restless Heart. An honorable mention to Stars in My Eyes by Lawrence Welk. We get another Lawrence Welk from Bobby. Billy goes with Eyes of Waylon, Hank Williams Jr. Good choice there. Them Their Eyes, Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby making a second straight on the second straight day.
The Binger.
With Tears in My Eyes, Ernest Tubb. Beautiful Brown Eyes, Roy Acuff. And Tattletale Eyes, George Jones and Tammy Wynette. With an honorable mention to The Eyes of a Ranger, theme to Walker, Texas Ranger by George McAnthony. I didn't even know Walker, Texas Ranger really had a theme.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I didn't know. I never watched that show though, so I don't know.
I've seen it a few times. Yeah, I can't recall it.
On our First Bank text line here, we'll get to these here in just a moment. Let's see here. Zed, these eyes, in your eyes, lion eyes, Doctor My Eyes, Jackson Brown, good song there. And Don't Close Your Eyes, Keith Whitley, also a very good song. Ray in Cordova, honorable mention, Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue, Crystal Gale. That was one I really wanted to get on my list, to be honest. Love that. That's a great song. I wanted to give some respect to Crystal Gale, too, so I'm glad Ray did. And Ebony Eyes by Bob Welch.
Yeah, see?
Honorable mention for him. Number 5, Green Eyed Lady, Sugarloaf. Great choice, great choice. Number 4, Eye of the Tiger. Number 3, Betty Davis Eyes. Number 2, Lion Eyes. And number 1, Brown Eyed Girl. Let's see here. Nico. Number 5, Girl with One Eye, Florence and the Machine. Through These, I just lost it. Let me get that back here. Through These Eyes, Social Distortion. Bad Luck, Blue Eyes, Goodbye by the Black Crowes. Pair of Brown Eyes by the Pogues. And Eye of the Tiger, the University of Memphis marching band version.
How about that? Shout out to the Mighty Sound of the South.
Let's see. Another list here. Number 5, Searching with My Good Eye by Soundgarden. Evil Eye, Billy Idol. Driving with Your Eyes Closed, Don Henley. That's not a good thing. Do not do that. Do not try that at home.
Especially don't text without opening your eyes and driving.
Number 2, Behind Blue Eyes by The Who. Mm-hmm. And number 1, In Your Eyes. Let's see here. Bobby from Midtown. Number 5, Cross-Eyed Woman by Michael Burks. So we've got a girl with one eye. We've got a cross-eyed woman. Crazy Eyes by Poco. 3, Eyes of Silver by the Doobie Brothers. Number 2, Far Away Eyes by the Rolling Stones. And number 1, Bluest Eyes by Storyville. Raider Corey, Brown Eyed Girl at number 5. Betty Davis, Eyes, number 4. Can't Take My Eyes Off You, Frankie Valli, number 3. Private Eyes, Hall & Oates, number 2. Surprised you didn't have Hall & Oates on your list.
You know, I love Hall & Oates, but Private Eyes is okay. It's okay. It's not going to be good enough for this list, not the list I put together.
And he goes Eye of the Tiger at number 1 as well. Matt from Walls comes with number 5, All Eyes on Me, Tupac. Number 4, Eye of the Tiger. Number 3, In God's Eyes, Saving Abel. Number 2, Brown Eyed Girl. And number 1, In Your Eyes. Somebody else comes with The Bluest Eyes in Texas by Restless Heart. Somebody says, props to Eli. Lion Eyes by the Eagles has to be on all lists.
I hated having to keep it off my list, but...
Let's see here. Number 5. Oh, it says I tried to have all songs with just the word eyes, not eyed or I. Okay. Number 5, Far Away Eyes, Rolling Stones. Pale Blue Eyes, Velvet Underground. Number 3, Doctor My Eyes.
Jackson Brown.
Number 2, I Know by De La Soul.
No, is that an EYE or an I?
Yeah, it says EYE.
Okay, all right.
And then number 1, In Your Eyes, Peter Gabriel. Honorable mention, Sad Eyes, Bruce Springsteen. Blue Eyes, Crying in the Rain, Willie Nelson, another one I would have loved to get on my list.
There's another Sad Eyes from the 70s with, what's his name? Something John. I can't remember it. I have to look it up. Sad Eyes. That was one I was looking at, too.
Somebody says, how can you leave off the best James Bond song for Your Eyes Only?
Another good one.
I've never watched a James Bond movie, so I don't know. I don't even know the song.
For Your Eyes Only, was that Sheena Easton? For Your Eyes Only? Sad Eyes, by the way, the Sad Eyes I'm thinking of is Robert John from the 70s.
Somebody else says don't have full list, but got to mention Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, Willie Nelson. Yeah, again, that's
considered it.
I think I had that one. I think I had that one for Cry when we did Cry as a topic.
I think
that was
you did.
one of my songs. Great song by the great Willie Nelson.
Any more?
That I think that is all of them. Yes, I believe that is it.
No mention for another one that I considered. It was When You Close Your Eyes by Night Ranger, which I saw play in South Haven. And it was a good song. Good song. Song's on my phone, but it did not make my list either. So I thought that was a very good list as far as quality songs with eyes in the title. All right, for tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do Bird. Bird. Now, here's the thing. Blackbird, Bluebird, that's fine. Anything with bird. But don't give me robin, okay? Don't give me seagull. We may do...
So not a type of bird.
Yeah, we may
gotta have the word bird.
Has to have the
bird
word.
Is the word.
Bird is the word. There you go. But we'll probably do types of birds later. But bird. But I will accept blackbird, bluebird, anything like that as long as bird is in the title. That'll be tomorrow's
Larry
5
Bird.
favorite
Larry
songs.
Bird
Larry Bird.
qualifies.
If there's a song about, there probably is a song about Larry Bird.
I feel like there's got to be a song about Larry
There
Bird.
probably
out there somewhere.
is a darn song about Larry Bird.
Some Boston artist did something about Larry Bird, right?
You would think so, right?
On Twitter here, got another list from A Silly Man. 5 Eyes of Blue by Paul Carrick.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Lion Eyes. Number 3, Don't Close Your Eyes. Number 2, Goodbye in Her Eyes, Zach Brown Band. And number 1, Doctor My Eyes.
Mm-hmm. Good list.
Very good list there. And I believe that is all of the ones on Twitter. So let's double check on that. I think we're all good. I think that's all of our lists.
From the NFL, I guess this is an NFL / Major League Baseball story. Patrick Mahomes, who has a lot of money now, is part of the Kansas City Royals ownership group. A minority stake in the Kansas City Royals. So how about that?
Yeah, you talk about endearing yourself to a market you're playing in. You win an MVP award, you go win a Super Bowl, and now you buy part of the Major League Baseball team in the market as well. That is how you can entrench yourself as part of the fabric of a community right there. Patrick Mahomes is all in with Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't know how they like the mayor right now, how much he's liked or her. I don't even know if it's a male or female, but I would bet that Patrick Mahomes would give them a run for their money if he ran for mayor, which he will not and should not. But the point is that Patrick Mahomes is beloved, probably the most beloved person now in Kansas City.
Got another song list here. You Can Close Your Eyes, James Taylor. Electric Eye, Judas Priest. Angry Eyes, Loggins and Messina. Number 2, In Your Eyes. And number 1, Cross-Eyed Mary by Jethro Tull.
We've had a few cross-eyeds, haven't we?
Well, we had a girl with one eye, and we had a couple of cross-eyed.
Right.
Or no, we had crazy eyes. We had a cross-eyed woman and we had a cross-eyed Mary. We've got a lot of weird eyes, a lot of kooky eyes going on with the folks. Fleet Feet, the place to go to get all your running gear, folks. If you're out there wanting to get out and do some exercise, running, walking, make sure you've got shoes just right for you. That's exactly what they can do for you at Fleet Feet. They'll take a look at the way you run or walk and fit you in shoes just right for you at either one of their 2 locations. They've got the location in East Memphis. It's in the Laurelwood Shopping Center, and then the location in Collierville at Poplar and Houston Levy next door to the Hueys. Either location, go in, let them take a look at the way you run or walk and get fitted with shoes right for you, plus any other stuff that you need, shirts, shorts, socks, hats, all that stuff. They've got it all for you. They're all about the runners at Fleet Feet.
When we come back, 2.5 questions, and the XFL may not be dead yet. This is Middays.
R&R on Sports, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Sports 56, 87.7, and 96.1. Don't miss us.
Hey, you should move over. Red right return.
Right, red right return.
No, just red right return because
No, I'm saying red right return, but then right to agree.
Okay, but you're on the...
I should have said correct. I know it's red right return, but...
You're on the left and it's red right return. Red right return.
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive has you covered as a leader in boat insurance. Get a quote today at Progressive.com.
Oh, I was on the left. Right.
Please stop talking.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 59875 excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435. 2020 Mitsubishi Outlander Sport is ready for any adventure at $229 a month, or buy for $18,533. And cross over to summer in a 2020 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, only $19,147 or $239 per month. And better yet, they're all backed by a stellar 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Mirage G4, $149 a month. Outlander Sport, $229 a month. And Eclipse Cross, $239 a month. Feel safe and confident while shopping at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Frontier Western Store is open and ready to serve you for all your needs in boots, apparel, pet food, and more. Frontier is proud to be a local leader here in the Mid-South when it comes to boots. Stop by the store today for an incredible selection of name brand work and dress boots. Come browse aisles and aisles of top quality boots at everyday low prices in our world famous boot showroom. Dan Post, Rocky, Durango, Twisted X, Georgia, Ariat, and many more. There are so many styles, colors, and fits available, you might need a hand picking out your favorites. Luckily, Frontier's knowledgeable sales staff will cheerfully assist you with any questions you have and ensure the proper fit of your new boots. Frontier also has an amazing selection of jeans and shirts by Wrangler, Ariat, and Carhartt, as well as a fully stocked women's boutique department with thousands of tops and dresses at unbelievable prices. New arrivals often. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Gilman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Eat well and stay healthy with Sweetgrass Next Door's to-go and delivery service. From shrimp and grits to pork chops to chocolate chip cookies and more, feed your need. Located in the heart of Cooper Young Midtown, Sweetgrass Next Door makes for an easy to-go, pickup, and delivers to all of Midtown, most of downtown, and even East Memphis locations. For more information, visit online at sweetgrassmemphis.com or call 901-278-0278 to place your order today.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 12:24 is the time.
So, a couple other texts here on songs. Somebody says, Cross-Eyed and Painless by Talking Heads. Lots of cross-eyed people. A list here. Number 5, All Eyes on Me, Tupac. Number 4, Ebony Eyes, Rick James and Smokey Robinson. Number 3, Eye of the Tiger. Number 2, Pretty Brown Eyes by Mint Condition. And number 1, Private Eyes, Hall & Oates. Carolyn on Facebook suggests either a Sweet or Sugar as possibilities for categories on our songs lists.
Thank you for the recommendation. I'm sure we'll get to that as well. Absolutely.
A couple of texts on baseball. Got a text. Do the Marlins have a minor league team to pull players from? It'll be like the Grizzlies' injury-riddled season in comparison with 28 players in 1 year. Well, the way that the baseball is doing it this year, obviously, because there is no minor league baseball, each team has a separate camp. They basically you can have up to 60 total players. And they have 33 players with them in their traveling party. So you could technically have up to 27 guys at your other camp that's your lot that you can pull from. So I don't know if they have the full 60 or not. Some do, some don't. But yeah, they do have another camp where they could pull players from.
Yeah, it's ironic that as I watched the Phillies and the Marlins play on Sunday, it was the Marlins broadcast, and they kept showing an intra-squad game that was going on in Miami or wherever the camp is with those guys. It's almost like foreshadowing that those guys are probably going to be on the roster pretty soon.
But yeah, but one of the things they are dealing with is that the 40-man roster rule still applies, so you got to take guys off the 40-man roster to call up somebody that isn't on that 40-man roster. So there is some jockeying that still has to go on unless Major League Baseball decides to change those rules in any way.
So I got a little information about baseball and the testing. Okay, there's different tiers, and there's a tier that includes the players, the manager, the umpire. So every other day they have to test. Unless positive or near a positive, then every day until 2 consecutive negatives. And then we get back to the Juan Soto thing and how he's had 6 negative tests but not 2 consecutively. Well, there's 2 tests that are going on. There's the spit test, which takes, I guess, a little longer to diagnose, and the spit tests apparently for Soto are positive. But his negative tests are coming through the rapid test that they take. And the rapid test, I'm told, is not that accurate. I don't know why they use it if it's not that accurate, but I guess because it's rapid and they're trying to get these tests every day. So it's kind of going against each other. One test that's a little more accurate than the other, one that's coming up negative, the other one's coming up positive. Really a weird situation for Juan Soto.
Another person texted and said, hey, you guys last week were talking about baseball usage during the games. Did you hear yesterday they were going through 150 dozen baseballs a day for the Major League games and batting practice? Yeah, opening night they were talking about that they basically thought they would use twice as many baseballs as normal per game. Normally, it's about 12 dozen per game, and this year they thought they would be using like 24 dozen baseballs per game. That's a lot of baseballs. It's funny too because I've noticed the catchers, when there's a strikeout and you're not supposed to throw it around the horn, you're supposed to just throw it back to the pitcher. Some of these catchers just kind of get caught up in it. You see them flip it down to third and like, oh gosh, now we got to throw that ball out of play. It's funny to watch. Like they just can't get that through their mind. Sometimes they'll do it normally, but other times I think they just get caught up in the moment. Your immediate instinct is just throw that ball down to third and throw it around the horn.
Yeah, look, you've done it for so long. Like you said, the instincts, they come out. But for the most part, I think they've done a pretty good job. I think they really have. And, yes, they're going through a ton of baseballs. There's no question. But think about, like, on let's say they throw a ball out. The umpire touches the ball, puts it in the glove of the catcher. The catcher grabs the ball, throws it to the pitcher. Pitcher throws it back. Now, if the ball is hit, then a fielder gets it, possibly 2. If let's say it's a ground ball short, throw over the first base. So now 5 people have already touched that ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically every play, every out. You're going to have situations like that. But as soon as the ball touches the dirt, as you know, because that's happened even before COVID-19, they throw that ball out, which I guess would be, they think maybe it doctors the ball start dancing around because it has a little bit of dirt on it, but they do that notoriously. Also, I got this story from the XFL. It's more of a story about TV rights and contracts and things of that nature. It comes from Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. But I thought the XFL going sort of belly up after COVID hit was the end, but it may not be the end. This, again, is from Pro Football Talk. Next week, potential buyers of the XFL will be required to place bids, and the league's existing TV deals give the XFL more value. So according to Daniel Kaplan of The Athletic, actually it's from The Athletic and then retweeted out by Mike Florio at Pro Football Talk, said that they're negotiating with Alpha Entertainment, current owner of the XFL, regarding the Fox deal. ABC, ESPN are trying to get out via the court system. The argument advanced by the Disney-owned entities arises from the notion that the company chose to do business with Vince McMahon, not whoever buys the XFL from McMahon. The XFL generated solid TV ratings before the pandemic, and in theory, the XFL could thrive in the spring unless college football gets moved to the same months. Regardless, the XFL's TV deals add to the value of the asset. If ABC, ESPN, or Fox can avoid or reduce their commitments, the potential price for the XFL will surely drop. Here's the thing. If you are an investor and you've seen the Alliance go down, again, for a different reason, their financial issues, but it went down after less than a season. And then you had the XFL, and it got hit basically because of the stoppage because of COVID-19. Aren't you a little leery of starting it up again, starting another spring league 3 straight years, whether it's called the XFL or what have you? Aren't you a little worried that maybe it's jinxed, that time slot? It's not going to be good?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be willing to do anything until I know that the coronavirus is not going to be an issue again.
Right. That goes beyond, it goes without saying. I mean, anybody who wants to do that, I think, are just throwing away their money. But, I've been wishing and hoping that there was success in the spring league, obviously with my connection with the Alliance, but it just seems like it's not working. So I don't know if I would invest my money into that.
By the way, there is some video of Dustin Johnson on the driving range, so he is here ready to play at this point.
When we make our picks tomorrow, you can have him. As much as I love DJ, having him on my team the last 2 weeks has been a killer. So I'm not about to go for the hat trick and watch him win. He loves Memphis.
He does have a bit of success on this golf course. That's
he certainly does.
Time now for not one final thing. 2.5 questions.
Who, what, where, when, how, and why? Questions start with these. Step right up and answer all my questions, if you please.
I'm just a normal kid, like you, except that I ask questions. And because I'm brave enough to ask questions, I come under scrutiny.
Asking all them questions. Why you asking all them questions?
Now here is a question for you.
What does the fox say?
Question number 1. Of the new rules we've now seen actually come into play in baseball for this season, you've got the DH in the National League, of course. Mm-hmm. The 3-batter minimum for relief pitchers, must face 3 batters, must end of an inning, and all kinds of some other things there.
Right.
And the runner on second to start extra innings. Rank them from your favorite to least favorite.
1 would be the National League DH. I like uniformity. And I know people have dug the American League having it and not the National League. Others, the old schoolers, didn't like it from the beginning and probably still don't like a DH because of the strategy and everything that comes into play when you have a pitcher batting. But I do like uniformity. So I think the National League DH may be here to stay. So that's number 1. Number 2, the decision to have the pitcher have to face a minimum of 3 batters. And again, if he gets the last out and he comes back, then he has to face 2 batters. It's going to be 3 total unless he's out of the game after that, getting the final out. That I like that one. I absolutely like that one. So that's number 2.
You know what I was wondering, and they mentioned this, that if he comes in and picks a guy off, that does not qualify as a hitter faced. I was wondering how they would do that. You come in, you get him out, but that does not qualify as facing a hitter by picking a guy off.
So then he would have to start, if he comes out to start the next inning, he has to face then 3 batters.
Yes, yeah. Like if you ended the inning by picking somebody off, you'd still have to face 3 guys if you come back out next inning.
Yeah, that's a little weird, but I do like that rule. Number 3, by a wide margin, I hate the extra inning rule. I do understand what they're doing. I do. But when we get back to some sort of normalcy for Major League Baseball, hopefully for next season, they won't have it, obviously. They won't put that rule into play. It's not going to get voted in. But it's not baseball. I'm sorry. I would even prefer, if you're going to put a runner on second base, put 1 out. Put 1 out up there. Because, again, runner on second base, sacrifice him over to third, sacrifice fly. Boom. It's not happening all the time, but it's so simple, at least on paper. I hate it, but I understand it.
Yeah, I have not seen a game yet where it has come into play. I've not been watching a game where it came into play. Certainly I get it for this year, but I want to see it one time, and then I kind of will have a little better judgment on it. I want to, but I just haven't been watching a game yet where they went 2 extra innings. Thought the Cubs had a good chance last night until they found a way to get out of that 9th inning, but I just haven't watched a game yet where it's happened.
They did it. Kansas City, Cleveland played a game, and they didn't get a hit. They scored the run, they won the game.
See, I know that
without getting a hit.
The pitchers are mad because you could come in, pitch well. Like if you enter the game in the 10th inning, you could come in, pitch well, not give up a hit, and yet take the loss in the game.
Right.
You'll pick up an earned run, and I guess it counts as an earned run, even though the guy was on base. When I don't know how I'm not sure how they're treating that. I wonder if that is an earned run for the pitcher or not.
That's a good question. And I didn't watch this game, but I remember reading about the game. There was an extra inning game for the Angels, and the guy who makes the last out is the guy that would come up and be the runner at second base.
Which it makes sense. That's what it should be.
No, it makes sense. But Shohei Ohtani was the guy for the Angels in this particular game, and they couldn't find him. I think maybe he walked into the club. I don't know what he did, but they had to go get him and put him out there on second base. He had no idea.
No, I have to look. I wonder if that is an earned run or not for the pitcher. It shouldn't be, but I wonder how they're counting that. I wonder if they're counting as an unearned run or how they're crediting that run if that guy scores.
I can't imagine it's an earned run because he was put on second base by something artificial. It wasn't a hit.
By Major League Baseball. He was put on second base by Major League Baseball.
The preceding announcement made on behalf of Major League Baseball. Yeah, I mean, they just, take second base. But
if somebody takes it, they count it as an error. It is not an earned run. Okay, so they're just counting as an unearned run. Okay, I was wondering how that. I didn't know. I hadn't even thought about that until just now.
It would be horrible against the pitcher. I mean,
but still, you could take the loss. You could come in, pitch well, take a loss for no fault of your own.
You know what it should be?
Just being a guy at second base.
It should be a team loss. New category for this year.
It is a team loss,
but it should be a team loss in the record. No pitcher. There's no record of the pitcher losing or winning in extra innings because this cockamamie runner on second base.
All right, question number 2. Today is the anniversary of Barry Sanders announcing his early retirement from the NFL. Give me one player from each of the 3 big sports who you wish would have been able to play a lot longer.
NFL Gale Sayers, who had a great career but not a real long career with the Chicago Bears. That one's an easy one for me. Gale Sayers, NFL. NBA. I got to think. I got to get back to the NBA. Major League Baseball. Well, the obvious one would be his career was shortened, but he still played after he got plucked. You know, the sad story about Tony Conigliaro, who got hit in the head, and then his career was never the same. But I think he still continued to play. I'm trying to think of a pitcher, arm trouble, that had their careers cut short.
Well, the old one would be Sandy Koufax.
How many years did Sandy end up playing?
He only I don't know if he pitched afterwards, but he only had of where he pitched a lot. He actually pitched more than I thought. He he basically ended up with 10 full seasons.
Yeah, I thought he pitched a decent amount. A
couple of those were not full seasons by their standards because they only made 28 or 29 starts. Back then, they made a lot more than that, but it would be a full season by today's standards.
I would go either the Bird, Mark Fidrich, or Bo Jackson. I'm going to go Bo Jackson.
Could go Bo Jackson in 2 sports.
I could go Bo Jackson in 2 sports, but I'm going to stick with Gale Sayers, Bo Jackson in Major League Baseball, and NBA. Think of okay. Let's see.
You got one here locally
with Penny. It's a good one. I'm trying to think of.
Somebody texted in Magic Johnson, but Magic had a pretty long career before.
Right. But it was. I mean, he was towards the very end, right, when he got the positive HIV result, right? And he played in the All-Star game when he already had the test. I forget how that all worked out, but I mean, Magic played a long time.
He
played a long time, didn't he?
He was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 seasons.
Yeah, That's pretty long.
And then he had the HIV. Then he came back for a brief bit in 95, 96, played half a season.
Let me think here. I know Jay Williams had his career tragically cut short because of the motorcycle accident. And you had guys like Sam Bowie and all that, but who had...
There's one on the text line that would be an obvious one for you. Now, he'd never got his career started.
Oh, Len Bias. I didn't even look at the text line. As soon as you said that, I would... I mean, can I include that? He never played.
Yeah, I mean, that's to me, like I wouldn't, because it's more somebody who's at least got their career started.
You know what I'm going to go with?
Then had to have it cut short.
You know what I'm going to go with here? I'm going to go with DeJuan Wagner. DeJuan Wagner had so many health problems, and he had a budding NBA career, and he was off to a pretty good start. Former Memphis Tiger.
Greg Oden was pretty short.
Greg Oden was one I thought of.
Oden's a real good one. But because of the connection, I covered DeJuan Wagner. I mean, he was a nice guy. I mean, some people would say Walton. He still ended up with 10 years in the NBA.
Brandon Roy, somebody mentions on the text line.
Brandon Roy's a really good one. I mean, Penny's a really good one, too. But Penny ended up playing not at 100%. He ended up playing with the Knicks he ended up playing with and some other teams at the end there. But Wagner, man, his total career, how many years did DeJuan end up playing? I bet you only played, I'm going to guess he played like 5 seasons. Let's see. I can look that up. I'm going to take Wagner. Let's see. He played 2002 to 05 with Cleveland, 2006 Golden State. And they played 1 year professionally in, I don't even know what country this is, somewhere in Europe. So he played 4 years, basically. So I'm going to go DeJuan Wagner. Gale Sayers, DeJuan Wagner, and Bo Jackson in baseball.
All right. Question number 3. So we had the guest on earlier talking about Caddyshack.
Mm-hmm.
Give me your favorite male movie character of all time and your favorite female movie character of all time.
By the way, I got a text. I can't tell you who it's from, but it's so funny about the extra inning rule. Yeah, I understand for some people they absolutely adore it. All right, so my favorite male character and female character in a motion picture, like as an actor, is that what you're saying, or TV?
Favorite male movie character of all time, favorite female movie character.
Character of all time. It would be Bluto from Animal House. Blutarski. What was Blutarski's first name? It was John Belushi who played Blutarski, who had a 0.0 grade point average. I want to say John, like he used his real name. And then for the female, oh, gosh. Female movie character of all time. Let's see. In the running would be Carrie, Sissy Spacek. The woman who was investigated in what was that movie? What's her name? Who was the blonde actress who was being interrogated and then she uncrossed her legs? Sharon Stone. That character in that movie was pretty good.
That was what's that? Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct. I like that one. I could go Bonnie and Clyde with Faye Dunaway. I'm trying to think of anything more modern here. So tough. Could go League of Their Own with Gina Davis's character.
What's the question again?
Favorite male movie character of all time, favorite female movie character of all time.
I have to.
Who do you got? Give me some time to stall here and think
Mike
about
Larry, Will Smith from Bad Boys.
Okay.
And this movie called Salt with Angelina Jolie. She was like a spy, and her name was Salt in that movie. Salt.
Oh, I remember that. I remember Salt. It was John Blutarski, I thought it was, from Animal House. That's an easy one for me. He's kind of like the Kramer of movie characters. And for the female character, I'm going to go Bonnie. I'm going to go Faye Dunaway in Bonnie and Clyde. She was a bad mama jamma, as they say. That's my choices. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of texts on that. I mean, it's hard to, right on the spot, that question. I know there's going to be a million after we wrap up the show that I think about.
Somebody said Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, if you're into animation and stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's a fine character.
Fine
if
character.
That's what you if you like that.
If you're into that. You're into animation? Yeah, absolutely.
The females, it's hard. I was thinking, I would probably, just off the top of my head, I think I would go Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs.
Good one. She was, detective?
Clarice. I don't know what her last name was.
That's right.
Just when he used to say her name, it used to creep me out.
Good one. And there's probably a billion of them, right? We can't even think of these off the top of our head. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll have a final break here. We'll come back, and I'm sure we're going to have a few other choices from our listeners out there.
I don't remember what's the lady from Fargo.
Oh, Frances McDermott, but yes, I don't know her. I don't know the character.
I love her character in that movie. That was outstanding.
She's good. She's good in everything.
That was really good stuff.
All right.
Mid-South Ag Equipment, for all your equipment needs. They can take care of you with the Case IH Farmall series of tractors. Of course, bush hog cutters, bush hog zero-turn lawnmowers. They've got it all. They've got new equipment, used equipment. They've got parts. They can do service on your current equipment. Whatever you need, check them out at Mid-South Ag Equipment, just south of Collierville on Goodman Road. It's a half-mile west of the Goodman Road exit off of I-269. They're on the online at midsouthag.com. You can go on there. You could check out inventory that they've got, new and used. You could see special deals they've got going on. They've got tips and things on their website as well for you to help keep your equipment working long term. It's Mid-South Ag Equipment. MidSouthAg.com is the website for all your equipment needs to tackle those tough chores. Check out the Case IH Farmall series of tractors at Mid-South Ag Equipment.
Since we had a guest on talking Caddyshack earlier, how about Lacey Underalls from Caddyshack? Got a few other names that we'll discuss when we return for our final segment. This is Sports 56 Middays.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Farmers Insurance knows that when you're in the car and that song comes on, yes, that's the one, you have no choice but to pull out your imaginary drumsticks and smash those cymbals and stomp on that kick pedal, which unfortunately is the accelerator pedal. And we covered it. Talk to a farmer's agent who knows a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Call Chad Gatlin at 901-235-1176 or get a fast quote at memphisfarmers.com.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
It's time for an upgrade. Beneath your feet, with beautiful, durable new carpet from the Home Depot. And right now, free installation. Choose from a wide selection of styles. Order samples. Schedule a measure and installation, all online. It's never been easier to have carpet you love, right where you live. New carpet and free installation, only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Free installation on carpet $6.99 or more and $1.25 or more per square foot, U.S. only.
Hi, I'm Greg Gaston for Window Genie. Window Genie is a trusted name in window cleaning, but they do so much more. They can take care of your home or business. They clean interior and exterior windows with a streak-free guarantee. They clean gutters, do pressure washing and house washing. They can also clean and seal concrete, brick, and natural stone. Locally owned and operated, insured and bonded. Get your free estimate today and ask for the Sports 56 discount. Call 901-424-4100 and leave the dirty work to Window Genie.
On Election Day, August 6th, Republicans have a choice. Are we a party of principles or a party of personalities? Will we stand for something or fall for anything? The Republican Party of Ronald Reagan won the Cold War by focusing on family, faith, and freedom. Today we have new challenges with disease and economic uncertainty. But if we don't lose our way, if we don't descend into petty squabbles and soundbite policies, if instead we focus on family, faith, and freedom, I promise you, we have solutions. That's why I'm asking for your vote. I'm George Flynn, and I approve this message. Paid for by Flynn for Senate.
Now, back to Sports 56 Middays presented by FedEx. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at Quincy White Station. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. Final few minutes here on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Middays. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Carl Morris.
Somebody says Bluto and Carrie. Are you serious, Greg?
Well, Animal House is my favorite movie of all time. So Blutarski, is my favorite character. Why wouldn't it be my favorite movie? I could say, like, Sonny Corleone from The Godfather, who was probably my favorite in that trilogy.
Raider Corey brings up Clark Griswold as a male, which certainly he would be very high on my list.
Great choice. Let me go over some of these women. Sarah Connor from The Terminator. Then you have all those Marvel deals like Black Widow. I don't know if it's Marvel. Don't get mad at me if I'm wrong with that. Wonder Woman.
You're correct.
Am I correct? I don't know all that. I don't watch that stuff. Somebody said Mary Poppins. Maleficent, Belle, all the Disney movies and all that, but none of them. Dorothy Gale, The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy.
Somebody says Old Girl from Kill Bill on the text line. Gunny Highway from Heartbreak Ridge. Kathy Bates' character in Misery.
Oh, a good one. Good one.
Stormy Daniels in Wanted.
Stormy Daniels.
My male character, Clark Griswold, would be maybe number 2 on my list, but my number 1 male, without question, is Doc Holliday in Tombstone. Val Kilmer playing Doc Holliday in Tombstone was one of I literally could watch that movie nonstop throughout the day, and I still will love him every time.
And also, we were talking again, a Caddyshack. You would have to think that Carl Spackler.
Oh, he would be up there.
Would be up there. But again, I went my number 1 movie of all time, and Popeye Doyle's a good one. All these guys, Serpico, but I love Animal House, so that's why I picked Blutarski.
Time now for one final thing.
Before Greg and Eli get out of here for the day, they each have one final thing they think you should know to make it through the rest of your day. So here are Greg and Eli with one final thing.
So Stephen Tuitt of the Steelers, their fine defensive end, said yesterday that I am not kneeling for the flag, and screw anybody who has a problem with that. My grandmother was an immigrant from the Caribbean, and she worked her ass off to bring 20 people over the right way. She had no money and educated herself to be a nurse. She's living good now. So I am not going to take a knee. How about that?
That's very strong. Somebody, by the way, said the dude from Big Lebowski. Gosh, that's a great one.
Oh, come on. There's a trillion of them here.
That's a great one. He'd have to be very high on my list, too.
How about Bill Murray in the bowling movie? What was his name? Big Erm.
Big Erm
McCracken.
Erm McCracken, yep. So Major League Baseball apparently is trying to get as creative as possible here. It appears as though basically they're going to pause the Marlins season for an indefinite amount of time. And it looks like, I guess, the Phillies are kind of also going to be in that. And it looks like what they're going to try and do is take the 2 teams that they are supposed to be playing, the Orioles and Yankees, and get them together to play some games and then try and make up later in the schedule any Marlins and Phillies games.
Oh, jeez.
And obviously the Yankees and Orioles being in the same division, they have to play each other anyway, so they could kind of get ahead of each other or kind of get ahead with their games, and that would maybe open up some dates later where they could possibly play the Marlins and Phillies. But they do say that basically there is a chance that neither the Phillies or Marlins may not get to the full 60-game schedule, and then they'll determine, I guess, playoff qualification by just winning percentage.
Of course, the Phillies, my team in the 13-run contest, and the Gaston cardboard cutout is going to have to wait now since the Phillies had their home games against the Yankees screwed over because of the damn Marlins. Thank you very much, Marlins. The Gaston cutout was going to make its debut yesterday. It'll have to wait.
Have you ever thought that maybe the Gaston cutout is what gave the Marlins COVID?
I think the Gaston cutout may have COVID. The cardboard is tested positive. It needs 2 negative tests in a row before it's allowed back in.
By the way, somebody comes with Dirty Harry.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Great one. Fletch, another Chevy Chase one, which is absolutely outstanding as well. I would put...
sticking with Blutarski.
I would go. I will also high on my list would be. You could have a number of Eddie Murphy roles, but I would probably go Axel Foley from Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah,
as my favorite Eddie Murphy.
Sure,
and I love him in that. There's a lot of the male ones. The female ones I don't have nearly as strong a list.
Right. If you like the action movies, there's.
I would have a couple of Julia Roberts characters in there.
What's Tom Cruise's character in Mission Impossible? You could do that. You could do James Bond, for goodness' sakes.
If you're doing Tom Cruise, there's only one role that matters, and that's Maverick.
Maverick, right? There's a lot of good. Yeah, not that there isn't good choices for the women. It's just I don't think abundant. There's
some Will Ferrell characters that I would put on my certainly on my men's side of things too.
Which one would you go with out of all his great characters?
My favorite one,
Jackie Moon?
No, that's not even close. Probably Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby?
But old school would be that would be hard not to but I would probably go Ricky Bobby.
How about my boy Blue as a favorite character? I want to thank Chris Nashawati for joining us. He has authored the book Caddyshack, The Making of a Hollywood Cinderella Story, available now. Steve Macy from the University of Memphis also joining us. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a lot of Grizzlies. They'll play their final scrimmage this afternoon. In fact, at 1 o'clock, they'll get going today in their game. And tomorrow, we'll be joined by the television voice of the Grizzlies, Pete Pranica, at 11:05. So we'll talk Grizzlies as they prep for their regular season resumption on Friday, their first of 8, as they'll take on the Portland Trailblazers. Go ahead.
A text, by the way, Joe Pesci from my cousin Vinny. Joe Pesci has some really good roles that you could put in there.
Yeah, and you could look. How about the guys from what's the great mafia movie with Pesci and with De Niro and with Ray Liotta? Come on, the great movie.
Goodfellas or Casino?
Goodfellas. Whatever his character was in Goodfellas, Pesci's character.
Yeah, Joe Pesci has a lot of character.
He is a character.
Forrest Gump, somebody comes with. That'd be another very good one.
Sure, absolutely. All right, so Pete will join us tomorrow. Also, Steve Sands from the Golf Channel on NBC as we talk WGC FESJI, and we'll make our picks with our 4-man scramble. That's coming up tomorrow. Again, the topic for our 5 favorite songs tomorrow will be bird, any type of bird. It could be a bluebird, but not a robin or anything like that. It has to have the word bird in the title. Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio is coming up next. For Eli and for Carl, I'm Greg. Have a great day, everybody.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and find your right fit. At Edwin Watts, they take customer service to a whole new level. Not only do they fit for clubs, they take pride in servicing customers throughout the entire store. They'll help you find the right shoes, bags, gloves, balls, apparel, and more. At Edwin Watts, you'll find name brand equipment at guaranteed lowest prices every day. So buy it, try it, they know you'll like it because Edwin Watts help you find the right equipment. Visit Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
And now a game of Commercial Chicken, brought to you by Progressive, where we see how long Flo can go without talking about insurance. Ready? Go.
So, have you noticed how everyone's grammar is completely awful now? Like, the texting and the LOLs. Whatever happened to punctuation? I mean, drivers who switch to Progressive could save big.
Okay, you win. We can't help but save customers money. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is the sound of a blizzard treat at DQ. But it also sounds like a weekend bike ride. a post-game celebration, and a sunset on the dock. Wow! Doesn't a Blizzard treat sound good? Stop by DQ and grab one today, like new Oreo fudge brownie. Thanks for being the sweetest fans in the world. DQ, happy tastes good.
All 75 months at 3.14 APR, G4, LHF 07822, Outlander LUO 28772, Eclipse LZO 16320. Includes all rebates and incentives, PF 59875, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Drive your ambition with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, $149 a month with 41 MPG highway, or buy for $12,435.